Hey there. If you're tuning in, I'm curious. Where are you right now? What time is it for you, wherever you are? Before we dive headfirst into this, just take a quick second to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single beat of this story. Now, let's go. The year is 1347. You wake up, not gently, but with a sharp jolt, caught in the brutal grip of a medieval winter. Your breath, a ragged cloud, hangs thick and white in the frigid air just above your face. The straw beneath you offers a flimsy, scratchy shield against the biting cold seeping up from the packed earth floor. It's not the cold that truly jolts you awake, though. It's a dry, raspy ache deep in your throat, a constant companion for days now, relentless, absolute. You push yourself up, your joints protesting with a dull, familiar complaint. The village outside is unnervingly still, a huddle of dark, hunched shapes against the pre-dawn gloom. A thin, acrid scent of wood smoke, heavy and stale, clings to everything, mingling with the faint, unsettling smell of unwashed bodies and a pervasive, quiet desperation. You pull your tattered woolen tunic tighter, trying to trap what little warmth you have left. Your tongue feels like sandpaper against the roof of your mouth, a parched, cracked landscape yearning for moisture. Your feet, bare and chapped, flinch on the icy ground as you make your way towards the village well. Every step is an effort, a slow, dragging struggle against a profound weariness that settled deep in your bones weeks ago. You pass other huts, their wooden doors shut tight, silent, offering no comfort, no reassurance. You hear nothing but the faint, mournful whisper of the wind through leafless branches and the frantic, hollow beat of your own heart. Hope, fragile and almost foolish, a tiny ember pulls you forward. Maybe, just maybe, today will be different. As you draw closer, a cold dread begins to coil in your stomach, tightening with each careful, almost hesitant step. The well stands like a skeletal sentinel in the center of the square, its ancient stone walls dark and forbidding. You reach out, your fingers brushing against the rough, splintered wood of the winding mechanism. It's cold, so cold it almost burns, a shock to your already numb skin. You instinctively reach for the rope, the thick, familiar hemp that should be slung over the pulley, waiting to plunge the bucket into the cool, life-giving depths below. But there is no rope. The mechanism is bare, stripped clean, nothing. Not a single strand of fiber remains. The silence around the well isn't just the absence of sound. It's a heavy, echoing void, a hollow thud where the comforting creak of the pulley should be, where the splash of water should break the still air. Your eyes dart around, searching the frozen ground, pleading, but there's nothing. Just the bare, silent wood, and the dark, unyielding mouth of the well, hinting at nothing but empty air. A hollow promise within. Your throat constricts, a sharp, bitter taste flooding your mouth. Not of water, but of crushing, undeniable disappointment. You lean over the edge, straining, peering into the blackness. A futile gesture. No glimmer, no distant reflection, no faint sound of water. Just the echoing chill of an empty shaft, bottomless and unforgiving. The silence of the rope isn't merely about missing hemp. It's the profound, chilling silence of life itself draining away, drop by precious, impossible drop. You pull back, your shoulders slumping, the last flicker of hope dying in the cold, desolate dawn. This isn't just thirst anymore. This is a siege, a relentless tightening. This is the stark, brutal reality. How quickly the most essential things become the most elusive, defining everything. You are still standing there, hands frozen, knuckles white against the rough stone of the well, the raw chill seeping into your very bones. when a new sound breaks the profound silence. It's a faint, uncertain murmur at first, like a distant swarm of agitated bees, growing steadily, cutting through the pre-dawn stillness. It's not the wind, it's human. Your head snaps up. Through the oppressive gloom, you see them, silhouettes emerging from the darker spaces between the huts. One by one, then in small clusters, they shuffle towards the well, their movements hesitant, almost reluctant, as if their bodies already know the futility of their journey. Each person carries a pot, a pitcher, a bucket, a vessel of desperate hope that you know, with a heavy, leaden heart, will go tragically unfilled. Their eyes, even from this distance, seem hollow, reflecting the same raw, nagging desperation that has gnawed at you for days. They are drawn by the same relentless enemy, the same burning absence, converging on this central point of despair. They stop short as they reach the well's perimeter, their murmurs dying down to a choked, heavy silence. You watch as a woman, her face gaunt and etched with worry lines that seem permanently carved, reaches out a trembling hand, instinctively searching for the rope that simply isn't there. Her fingers fumble against the bare, splintered wood of the winding mechanism, a slow, agonizing comprehension spreading across her features. Her eyes, wide and bewildered, meet yours across the small, silent gathering, a shared moment of utter, devastating understanding passing between you without a single word. Another man, older, his shoulders hunched with years of toil and now heavy with thirst, leans precariously over the edge of the well, his ragged breath fogging in the bitter cold, straining to see into the inky, unyielding blackness. He pulls back, shaking his head slowly, a single, definitive gesture that confirms what you already knew, what everyone now silently acknowledges. The silence of the missing rope is no longer just your burden. It's a cold, hard truth, settling like an icy shroud over the entire assembly. The quiet, collective sigh that follows feels like a physical blow, a sudden draining of all communal strength. The air thickens instantly, with unspoken questions, with simmering frustration, with a dawning fear that is far more potent than the individual anxieties that brought each of you here. People begin to shift, a restless, shuffling sound replacing the earlier murmur. Their glances dart from the empty well to each other, then to the closed doors of their homes, as if desperately searching for an answer where there is none to be found. A young boy, clinging fiercely to his mother's threadbare skirts, lets out a small, almost inaudible whimper, his own tiny, parched throat an echo of the larger, unspoken agony that grips the adults. The communal thirst, a shared, suffocating weight, presses down, heavier and more pervasive than any individual suffering. The well, once a source of life, has become a silent, accusing monument to an absence. In that bleak moment, surrounded by so many others facing the exact same brutal, bleak reality, you realize how quickly a shared lack can shift from a personal torment to a profound communal burden. You can feel the invisible strings that bind this small group of desperate souls stretching taut, pulled by the fierce primal need for something so simple, yet now impossibly, cruelly out of reach. It makes you wonder, then, what truly binds people more tightly: the comfort of shared abundance, or this stark, chilling, and utterly defining absence. The wind whips at your threadbare tunic as you leave the silent, despondent cluster around the well. It bites at your ears, already numb, and carries with it the sharp, clean scent of something distant. The river, that whisper of water, however remote, is a desperate magnet, pulling you with a relentless ache that supersedes the throbbing in your temples and the gnawing emptiness in your stomach. Your boots, cracked and stiff, crunch through the thin layer of frost that now coats the village paths. The air itself feels brittle, ready to shatter. You follow the narrow, winding track that leads out past the last few skeletal trees, their branches clawing at the pale, indifferent sky. The ground underfoot is uneven, treacherous with frozen ruts, forcing your gaze downwards. But your head lifts almost instinctively as the distant glint catches your eye. There it is. A silver ribbon, shimmering, stretching out under the weak, watery light of the pre-noon sun. It's the river, and from this distance, it looks like a promise, a dazzling, unattainable jewel against the muted, desolate landscape. Hope, a precarious, almost foolish thing, tries to flicker again within you, a warmth against the internal chill. As you draw closer, the illusion begins to fray. The silver sheen isn't the gentle ripple of moving water, but the hard, unforgiving gleam of ice. A thick, opaque layer blankets the river from bank to bank, an unbroken, glassy surface. The air here carries a different, more unsettling scent than pure frozen water might. Beneath the crisp cold, there's a faint, metallic tang, something stagnant, something wrong. You slow your pace, your cautious steps echoing only in your own ears, the deceptive beauty of the distant view giving way to a colder, harsher reality. You reach the bank, your feet skidding on the slick, frozen mud. The river, usually a boisterous, churning artery of the land, lies still, utterly silent, entombed. The ice is thick, a dark, bruised gray beneath its shimmering surface. You peer closer, your breath fogging the air before you. Trapped just beneath the glassy layer, you see strange, dark shapes. Mounds of sediment, disturbed debris, perhaps even something worse, are frozen in grotesque tableau, distorted by the ice. A single brittle reed coated in a crystalline sheath spears upwards, a stark, lonely sentinel. The silver sheen from here is no longer beautiful. It's a mask, hiding something unsettling, something profoundly still. You crouch down, your knees aching, and reach out a hand, pressing your bare palm against the frozen surface. The cold sears your skin, a biting, immediate pain that travels up your arm. You pull back quickly, rubbing your hand, but the chill lingers, a persistent ghost. The ice isn't just a barrier, it feels like a warning. Even if you could somehow break through it, a task that seems monumental with nothing but your bare hands, what would you find beneath? The metallic smell is stronger here, a subtle but insistent note of decay. You push down a surge of despair, a wave of sickness that rises not just from thirst, but from the realization that this beautiful, shimmering expanse is as inaccessible, perhaps even more dangerous, than the empty well. The river, once a symbol of life's relentless flow, now stands as a monument to its cruelest stasis. You realize how something so visually inviting can hold such a stark, chilling reality within its grasp, turning hope into a bitter, cold ache. The fire begins deep inside you, a slow, insidious burn that has nothing to do with warmth. It ignites in your throat, a raw, rasping inferno that spreads, curling up into your sinuses, down into your chest. A dry, suffocating heat in the bitter winter air. You're still by the riverbank, the deceptive silver sheen of the ice mocking your very presence. The external cold, sharp, and biting, feels like a cruel jest against the internal conflagration raging through your body. Each shallow breath feels like drawing sand into your lungs. Your tongue, thick and swollen, feels too large for your mouth, scraping against your parched gums. Each breath you draw in only seems to fan the flames, pulling in frigid air that offers no relief, only exacerbates the arid landscape within. A metallic taste, sharp and unpleasant, coats your palate, an almost coppery sensation that whispers of deeper, more insidious processes at work within your own failing body. Your head throbs with a dull, persistent ache, a drumbeat keeping time with the relentless craving, making every sound a jarring assault. The world around you, already muted by winter's grip, now seems to recede further, blurring at the edges as your vision tunnels, fixating on the impossible frozen water just beneath your fingertips. You drop to your knees again, the impact jarring your already fragile senses. Your fingers, stiff and clumsy, scrabble desperately at the ice, searching for any weakness, any crack, a tiny fissure that might offer a way in. You scratch, you claw, your nails tearing and stinging against the unforgiving surface, but it holds, solid and impenetrable. A raw desperation fuels your efforts, a wild, instinctual fight against an immovable force. The cold, once a sensation to avoid, now feels almost secondary, overshadowed by the intense, all-consuming heat within. You press your forehead against the ice, a futile attempt to transfer some of that external chill to your burning core. But it's like trying to put out a bonfire with a single frozen leaf. The contrast is stark, almost unbearable. The unforgiving cold outside, the relentless fire within. A dizzy spell washes over you, the world tilting precariously. Your ears ring faintly, a high-pitched whine that seems to amplify the silence. You close your eyes, trying to steady yourself, and the darkness behind your lids is filled with shimmering, distorted images of water. A cool spring, a bubbling brook, condensation beating on a stone. Each image is a torment, a phantom comfort that only deepens the agony when you open your eyes to the harsh reality of the frozen river. You push yourself up, slowly, your legs trembling, the muscles weak and protesting. Every movement feels like an immense drain on what little energy you have left. The fire in your gut isn't just thirst. It's a silent scream, a primal, suffocating demand that drowns out all other thoughts, all other sensations. It reduces your world to a single, burning need, an aching, desperate hunger for the one thing that can quench this internal blaze. You realize then that this isn't merely discomfort. It's a battle, internal and consuming, where your own body has turned into both the battlefield and the tormentor. This fire is a stark reminder of how quickly life can be stripped down to its most fundamental, brutal struggle, leaving nothing but the raw, unyielding instinct to survive this internal conflagration. The frozen, brutal truth of the river sends a fresh wave of despair washing over you, but the relentless fire in your gut permits no surrender. You turn your back on the shimmering, deceptive ice, the metallic scent of stagnation lingering in your nostrils, and begin the long, slow trek back towards the village's sparse cluster of activity. Each step is a deliberate act, a heavy scrape of worn leather on frozen earth, your legs feeling oddly disconnected, as if powered by sheer stubborn will alone. Your throat remains a parched desert, a constant gnawing reminder of your singular, urgent mission. The main thoroughfare, usually quiet and desolate in these bleak times, offers a glimmer of something different today. A small huddle of people, a slightly larger gathering than at the well, draws your eye. As you draw nearer, the muffled sounds of muted conversation, a low, anxious hum, replace the stark silence of the river. And then you see it. A cart, small and rudimentary, pulled by a scrawny, dejected donkey, parked near the old baker's shop. On the cart, amidst some bundled rags, sits a single wooden bucket, barely half full. The water inside, a murky, uninviting brown, shimmers dully, yet to your burning eyes, it looks like liquid gold. Your pulse quickens, a frantic flutter in your chest. You push through the small knot of hushed villagers, their eyes following your every move, their faces etched with the same desperate hunger that consumes you. You reach the cart, your gaze locked on the bucket. Standing beside it, a man in a thick, patched coat, his face obscured by the shadow of his hood, holds a small dented tin cup. He holds it aloft, displaying its meager contents to a woman who shakes her head slowly, a sorrowful, defeated gesture. He nods, unperturbed, and turns his dark, unblinking gaze to you. You reach into the hidden pouch at your belt, your fingers fumbling against the rough fabric. Your hand closes around a single small silver coin, its cold, smooth surface, a stark contrast to the rough warmth of your skin. It's a coin you've guarded fiercely, a last vestige of former security, meant for a different, less desperate time. You pull it out, the dull gleam of the silver catching the weak light, and extend it towards the man. The coin feels heavy, unnervingly weighty, a tiny piece of metal imbued with a value far beyond its true worth in this moment. He takes it, his fingers brushing yours, surprisingly quick and sure. The clink of the coin as he drops it into a leather purse at his waist is a small, sharp sound, cutting through the heavy air, drawing the collective attention of everyone nearby. Without a word, he dips the tin cup into the murky water. The sloshing sound, though faint, is a symphony to your ears. He pulls it out, the cup only half full, the surface of the water still disturbed from its plunge. He hands it to you. You take it, your hand closing around the cold, unfamiliar metal. The weight of the small amount of liquid, a profound sensation. You lift it to your lips, the metallic smell of the cup mingling with the earthy scent of the water, and drink. It's cold, yes, and strangely flat, carrying a faint, unpleasant aftertaste, but it is water. You feel it slide down your raw throat, a painful, agonizingly slow trickle that seems to do little to douse the roaring fire within, yet it is a moment of impossible, fragile relief. The cup empties too quickly, leaving you with a lingering, bitter taste in your mouth, not just of the water, but of the exorbitant price paid for a momentary reprieve. You realize then that the true value of things shifts not with wealth, but with overwhelming need. A single coin can be a fortune, and a cup of water, an unimaginable luxury. The cup is empty, but the metallic taste still clings to your tongue, mingling with the earthy tang of the murky water. It was a sip, barely a mouthful, yet for a fleeting second, the roaring fire in your throat receded to a dull ember. The relief is immediate, sharp, and then it is gone, leaving behind only the ghost of moisture, a faint echo against the renewed, gnawing ache. You feel the cold of the tin cup in your hand, a stark reminder of its recent contents, its momentary comfort. You hand the empty cup back to the water seller, your fingers brushing his. He takes it, his touch surprisingly cool, almost clinical. His gaze, heavy and unreadable, settles on you. It's not a gaze of anger or even pity, but something colder, more calculating. His eyes, shadowed beneath the hood of his patched coat, seem to pierce straight through to the raw, unmasked desperation you've tried so hard to hide. You feel utterly exposed, stripped bare by his silent scrutiny. It's as if he's measuring the depth of your need, assessing the true, brutal value of that single silver coin you just surrendered. The brief, cold comfort of the water vanishes, replaced by a fresh wave of vulnerability that prickles your skin. You try to meet his gaze, but yours wavers, falling to the ground, then back to the rapidly dwindling water in the bucket. Around you, the huddle of villagers remains, their presence a palpable weight in the frigid air. You catch their glances, their eyes shifting between you, the seller, and the precious, dirty water. There's a shared yearning in their expressions. Yes, a silent, communal ache for what you just briefly experienced, but also a hint of something else. A subtle resentment for your brief, expensive moment of relief, perhaps a quiet envy of the coin you produced. Some turn away, their shoulders slumped, their own empty vessels clutched in numb fingers, already knowing their lack of coin will keep them from even this meager offering. The air thickens with unspoken desires, with the quiet despair of those who watch, powerless. The man makes no move, just stands there, his silent presence amplifying the tension, the quiet aching need that vibrates through the small assembly. He waits patiently, an unnervingly still figure in the center of their collective desperation. The murky water in the wooden bucket looks even lower now, each ripple a testament to its finite nature, its vanishing quantity. He runs a thumb along the rough wooden rim of the bucket, a small, deliberate gesture that draws all eyes to the diminishing liquid, a silent assertion of his control. His lack of overt expression only makes his power more profound, more chilling. You step back, your hands feeling suddenly empty, the thirst already beginning its renewed, insistent assault. The small relief has vanished, a fleeting memory, but the weight of his gaze, the chilling understanding of the power he now holds over life itself, lingers. You realize then how quickly necessity can forge an unlikely throne, and how swiftly human dignity can bend under the unbearable pressure of a simple, fundamental lack. In times like these, survival isn't just about enduring. It's about navigating the chilling calculus of what you're willing to give and what others are willing to take for a mere sip of existence. You leave the water cellar, the ghost of water still teasing your parched throat. The silver coin is gone, replaced by a lingering sense of unease, a cold hollowness in your pouch. You try to push the thirst to the back of your mind, a dull throb rather than a consuming inferno. But as you turn down a narrow alleyway, seeking the path back to your own hovel, a new sound begins to creep into your awareness. It's faint at first, barely a whisper, then a low, insistent drone, utterly unlike the mournful wind or the quiet shuffling of the villagers. It's a hum, a deep, persistent thrumming that seems to vibrate from the very cobblestones, growing stronger with every slow, deliberate step you take towards the darker, more secluded parts of the village. And then you smell it. A sickeningly sweet aroma, cloying and heavy, clinging to the cold, still air, pushing past the familiar scent of wood smoke and damp earth. It's the smell of something left too long, something decaying, something utterly foul, yet paradoxically, almost alluring in its sickening intensity. Your stomach churns, a fresh wave of nausea rising, threatening to overwhelm the lingering ache of thirst. The taste of the murky water you drank curdles in your mouth. You round a corner, your worn boots skidding on a patch of slick frozen mud, and then you see the source. Not a single source, but many. In the shadowed alcoves between the collapsing timber frames of deserted homes, and scattered around the overflowing neglected waste pits. There they are, thousands upon thousands of them, flies, not sluggish, winter-weary insects, but a teeming, agitated mass, a dark, vibrating cloud clinging to every surface, restless and unnervingly active. They buzz and swirl in a macabre, incessant dance, their tiny bodies catching the pale, weak sunlight, creating a shimmering, unsettling spectacle. The hum intensifies, becoming a throbbing, alive sound that feels like it's vibrating in your very bones, a relentless chorus of tiny, insistent wings. You instinctively bring a hand to your mouth and nose, trying to ward off the cloying, putrid smell and the unsettling spectacle. Your eyes scan the scene, a horrifying clarity settling upon you. These aren't just flies attracted to mundane waste. This is something more, something profoundly disturbing. They are drawn by a deeper, more pervasive rot. You see the outline of a discarded animal carcass, half hidden beneath a pile of rotting straw, and then, closer to a doorway, the disturbing lump of a human form beneath a tattered blanket, not quite still enough, not quite silent enough. The buzzing swarm seems denser around these ominous shapes, a dark, unsettling shroud of insect life. A cold shiver, far deeper than the biting winter air, traces its way up your spine, raising goose flesh. This isn't just about the scarcity of water anymore. This hum, this sickening smell, this relentless buzzing activity is the undeniable sound of something else taking root, something far more sinister and insidious than thirst. It's the pervasive sound of the world turning over, of life dissolving into decay, and the chilling realization that scarcity of water is just one cruel facet of a far greater, more terrifying struggle for survival. The hum of 1,000 flies, then, isn't just a sound. It's a grim, undeniable announcement of the plague's deepening, suffocating hold, and you feel its cold breath closing in. The cloying, putrid scent is no longer distant. It's a thick, suffocating blanket that presses in on you from all sides, mixing with the relentless, buzzing hum of 1,000 flies. You can taste it now, a bitter, sickly sweetness coating the back of your throat, far worse than the lingering memory of the muddy water. Your stomach lurches, a fresh wave of nausea churning through your gut, threatening to rise. The air itself feels heavy, infected, each breath a struggle against the overwhelming reek of decay and unaddressed death. It's too much. Your head spins, and a desperate primal urge to simply not breathe fills you. Your hand flies to your face, instinctively trying to cover your nose and mouth, but your bare palm offers no real defense against the invisible assault. You fumble, frantic, through the folds of your tunic, searching for anything, any scrap of cloth, to act as a barrier. Your fingers close around the rough, familiar texture of the linen rag you keep tucked away, a small, worn piece of fabric usually reserved for cleaning. It carries the faint, ghost-like scent of dried lavender, an old memory from a better time, now a desperate lifeline. You pull it out, a quick, jerky motion, and press it firmly against your nose and mouth, clenching your jaw to hold it in place. The world immediately changes. The deafening hum of the flies, though still present, becomes slightly muffled, a distant, angry drone rather than an insistent vibration in your skull. The putrid stench doesn't vanish entirely, but it recedes, softened, filtered through the flimsy barrier of the linen and the faint, almost miraculous fragrance of lavender. It's a strange, unsettling dichotomy. The scent of wild herbs, clean and sharp, fighting a losing battle against the pervasive decay, creating a distorted, almost surreal olfactory landscape. You breathe shallowly, carefully, inhaling the faint artificial cleanliness, trying to avoid deeper draws that might pull the foul air past your defense. Your vision, however, remains brutally clear, showing you the swarms, the unmoving forms, the grim reality that the rag can only dampen, not erase. You find yourself moving differently now, each step more cautious, your body instinctively holding itself stiffer, as if the rag is a fragile shield against an unseen enemy. You see others in the distance, shadowy figures moving through the alleyways, some with similar rags pressed to their faces, others simply hunched, defeated, their hands empty. A quiet, shared acknowledgement of this new, terrible reality hangs in the frigid air between you all. It's a silent pact, a common defense against a foe that spreads on the very breath of the wind. The comfort the rag provides is fleeting, a thin illusion against the pervasive threat. but it is enough to give you a momentary reprieve, a small space to breathe. You realize this isn't just about warding off a smell. It's about a desperate, almost pathetic attempt to deny the encroaching sickness, to hold on to a sliver of normalcy in a world rapidly descending into chaos. This simple act of breathing through a scented rag becomes a silent plea, a fragile assertion of self against the overwhelming tide of decay, reminding you how humanity clings to the smallest, most desperate measures to maintain even a semblance of control when everything else is crumbling. The lavender-scented rag, still pressed against your face, filters the putrid air to a bearable but never truly absent hint of decay. The hum of the flies, a constant low thrum, is now a familiar, horrifying backdrop to the village's grim silence. You walk, your steps heavy, your body aching, the small sip of water from the cellar long evaporated into the relentless fire in your gut. But then, cutting through the oppressive quiet, through the muted buzzing and the distant coughs, a new sound reaches you. It's faint at first, a delicate, almost musical trickle. Then, as you concentrate, straining your ears, it becomes clearer, a distinct, rhythmic plash, a steady, unbroken flow. Water. Not the frozen, metallic silence of the river, nor the empty echo of the well, but the unmistakable sound of moving, falling water. It's a sound you haven't truly heard in days, a memory from a forgotten time. Your head snaps up, your gaze darting around, searching, trying to pinpoint its direction. A spark ignites within you, small but fierce, a flicker of bewildered hope. Where could it be coming from, in a village so parched, so still? You adjust the rag, gripping it tighter, and begin to move, your steps quickening almost imperceptibly, pulled by an invisible, irresistible current. You turn down unfamiliar lanes, past more shuttered windows, and the ominous shapes of uncollected dead. The putrid smell intensifies at times, forcing you to breathe even more shallowly through the linen, but the insistent sound of water keeps you going. A siren song against the grim reality. The trickle grows louder, evolving into a confident gurgle, a continuous, melodic rush that feels almost impossible in this desolate landscape. Suddenly you emerge from a narrow alley, blinking into the weak winter light. Before you stands a high stone wall, ivy-covered and imposing, a stark contrast to the crumbling structures of the village. It stretches out, seemingly endless, enclosing something secret, something guarded. And from beyond it, the sound is undeniable, crystal clear now, the vibrant, ceaseless cascade of water. It's a fountain, a large one, you realize with a jolt, flowing without inhibition, without pause, a powerful, unwavering stream of life hidden behind this formidable barrier. Your parched throat tightens, a fresh wave of raw, desperate longing washing over you. You move closer, your feet crunching on the gravel path that runs along the wall. The wall itself feels cold and rough beneath your trembling fingers. You find a heavy, ornate iron gate, securely barred and locked, its metal cold and unyielding. Through the intricate scrollwork of the gate, you catch a glimpse of what lies within. A sprawling, manicured garden, surprisingly lush even in winter, and in its center, the magnificent, ceaseless spray of a stone fountain. The water glistens, catching the sunlight, rising and falling in graceful arcs, a spectacle of abundant, flowing liquid. It's beautiful, pristine, and utterly, cruelly inaccessible. A guard stands by the gate, a hulking figure wrapped in heavy wool, a spear resting against his shoulder. His eyes, cold and watchful, meet yours, silently daring you to even consider approaching. The sound of the fountain, so inviting from a distance, now becomes a torment, a mocking symphony of what is denied. You could almost feel the spray on your burning skin, almost taste the cool, clear water. The longing is so intense it's a physical pain, a fresh wound. You realize then that the cruelty of scarcity isn't just about absence, but about the agonizing proximity of plenty that is expressly, brutally forbidden. It's a stark reminder that even amidst widespread despair, some cling fiercely to what they have, creating their own desperate, walled-off oases. You pivot from the cruel spectacle of the fountain, your gaze still burning with the desire for that water, but something else pulls at you now. A subtle shift in the air, a faint, almost imperceptible warmth against the bitter chill that clings to your every bone. It's not the sun, which remains a weak, watery eye in the pale sky. This is something else, something solid and powerful, radiating from the very stones of the high wall. A different kind of luxury, a different kind of defiance against the harsh winter. You begin to walk, your steps slow and deliberate, following the perimeter of the formidable stone structure. With each careful stride, the warmth intensifies, growing from a ghost on the air to a palpable presence against your skin. It seeps into your exposed hands, touches your chapped face, a strange, almost alien sensation after weeks of relentless cold. You rub your arms, not for warmth, but in bewildered acknowledgement of this unexpected comfort. It's a striking contrast to the icy ground beneath your worn boots, the frigid air you breathe, and the internal fire of your unquenched thirst. The stone itself, massive and ancient, seems to hum with this hidden heat, a secret life beating within its core. The guard at the gate remains, a silent, imposing figure, his spear a dark line against the wall, but your attention is drawn further along the fortress. Above, from the crenellated battlements, columns of rich dark smoke curl lazily into the sky, thick and heavy with the scent of burning seasoned wood. A scent far different from the meager, acrid smoke rising from the village hovels. It's the smell of plentiful fuel, of roaring hearths, of a luxury that seems utterly absurd in the face of the scarcity you've known. You can almost feel the crackle and warmth of those fires, picturing the light dancing within the deep, protected rooms. You press a palm against the stone wall, feeling the undeniable, persistent heat against your cold skin. It's a steady, comforting warmth, emanating from deep within the fortress, from a world entirely separate from your own. The stone isn't merely cool, it's actively warm, a stark, undeniable testament to the unseen fires, the protected lives that exist just beyond your reach. It makes the cold of your own body feel even more acute, the gnawing hunger and thirst more profound, highlighted by this stark, unexpected contrast. You realize how deeply cold you truly are, a revelation brought not by the biting wind, but by the luxurious touch of warmth you cannot share. You continue to walk, tracing the length of the radiant wall until the warmth begins to fade, replaced once more by the indifferent bite of the winter air. The fortress recedes, becoming a distant, unyielding monument of privilege. The heat radiating from those castle walls isn't just physical. It's a profound, almost cruel reminder of the vast chasm between those who can command comfort and resources and those who are left to shiver and thirst in the desolate winter. It makes you wonder how quickly human resilience becomes a luxury, and how starkly life's comforts can be hoarded, creating an unbridgeable divide even in the face of a shared, terrifying fate. The rough, dry cloth scrapes against your skin, a jarring friction rather than any semblance of comfort. Your forehead feels impossibly hot, a furnace burning beneath your fingertips, radiating a fierce internal heat that mocks the perpetual chill of the unheated hut. Each touch of the coarse fabric only irritates, leaving a faint, chafing sting, a perverse counterpoint to the raging fever that has now taken root deep within your body. Your skin is clammy, yet paradoxically, intensely dry, a contradiction that makes you almost gasp for some cool liquid relief, anything to douse this relentless internal blaze. Your head throbs with a dull, insistent rhythm, like a blacksmith's hammer pounding against an anvil inside your skull. Every movement sends a fresh wave of dizziness washing over you, making the room tilt and sway in an unsettling dance. Your muscles ache, heavy and unresponsive, as if weighed down by unseen chains. Even lifting your arm feels like an immense, monumental effort. The air you breathe, despite the scented rag still clutched in your weak hand, feels thin and hot, as if you're inhaling the very flames that consume you from within. Your tongue, a swollen, uncooperative lump, sticks to the roof of your mouth, making swallowing a painful, scratchy affair, and the ghost of the water cellar's muddy offering is a cruel, distant memory. You lie back on the straw, the rustling sound amplifying in your fevered ears. Your vision blurs at the edges, the familiar shapes of the hut's timber walls twisting into grotesque, shifting shadows. You push the dry cloth across your face again, not expecting relief, but driven by a desperate, almost instinctual need to do something, anything, against this overwhelming internal assault. The lack of cool, dampness, the absence of even a single drop of water to moisten this parched landscape of your skin, is an agonizing frustration. You crave not just to drink, but to be bathed, to be cooled, to feel the soothing caress of liquid against this burning, aching shell. A shiver, unrelated to the external cold, ripples through you, leaving you trembling. Your teeth begin to chatter, a frantic, uncontrollable rhythm against the silent backdrop of your illness. Then, just as quickly, another wave of heat washes over you, leaving you drenched in sweat that feels strangely heavy, almost oily, against your hot skin. The cycle is relentless, a torturous pendulum swing between chills and oppressive heat, all the while the burning in your throat remains, a constant, absolute demand. In this haze of discomfort, you understand that this illness isn't just about pain or exhaustion. It's about a profound, almost spiritual longing for something as simple and fundamental as cool water. Not just for quenching thirst, but for the basic human comfort of its touch, its ability to soothe, to clean, to temper the unbearable fire that rages within. The rough dryness of the cloth against your fevered skin isn't just a physical sensation. It's a stark, brutal testament to a world where even the most fundamental acts of care and comfort are stripped away, leaving you to burn, alone, in a parched and desolate silence. You are lost in the haze of fever, the rough straw rustling beneath you, the world outside a distant muffled echo. Your skin burns, a constant, fiery testament to the plague's grip. Then, a single, unexpected drop of liquid falls onto your cheek. It's warm, impossibly warm, a startling contrast to the frigid air of the hut. A tiny, burning star on your fevered skin. You flinch, startled, your eyes fluttering open, struggling to focus through the blurry film of illness. Your vision slowly clears, enough to make out a face hovering above you. It's a woman, her features softened by shadows, but unmistakable. Your mother. Her eyes are wide, red-rimmed, and streaming, glistening trails carving paths down her pale, tired cheeks. Another drop, hotter and heavier, rolls from her lash and lands just beside your mouth, a tiny bead of moisture. You feel its salty taste, a sharp, bitter tang on your parched lips, utterly unlike the cool, clean water you so desperately crave. It's liquid, yes, but it offers no solace. no relief to the fire raging within your throat. Her hand reaches out, trembling slightly, her fingers cool and calloused against your burning forehead. She doesn't speak, cannot speak, her grief a heavy, suffocating silence in the small space. You see the deep, aching despair etched into every line of her face, a silent scream of helplessness. Her eyes, filled with this endless wellspring of sorrow, meet yours for a fleeting moment, and in them you see a love so profound it aches, laced with a crushing fear, a desperate, unspoken plea. Her tears fall steadily now, a quiet, ceaseless rain onto your face, each one a tiny, hot testament to her pain, to the impossible situation that binds you both. You lie still, unable to move, unable to offer comfort, your body too weak, your throat too raw. The salty rivulets trace paths across your cheeks, down your temples, mixing with the sweat that intermittently breaks on your skin. They feel strangely heavy, a dense liquid, a stark, painful contrast to the lightness you imagine of cool, clear water. The very air around you feels thick with her unspoken anguish, a suffocating presence that is almost as hard to bear as your own relentless fever. These tears are a different kind of water, a different kind of sustenance flowing in this parched world, a liquid born of sorrow, not of life-giving relief. As her tears continue to fall, a strange thought surfaces through your fevered haze. The world around you is desperate for water, yet here, a mother's heartbreak provides a boundless, bitter spring. It's a chilling realization how some liquids flow freely from pain, while others, vital for life, are cruelly withheld. This touch, this taste, this profound connection through silent grief, reveals a different depth of human suffering, one where emotion flows even when all else dries up. The world is a blurred landscape of pain and heat, your body a relentless furnace when a cool, unexpected shadow falls over you. You are vaguely aware of a presence, a quiet, hesitant shift in the stifling air. Your eyelids feel impossibly heavy, glued shut with a film of fever, but you force them open, just enough to catch a glimpse. Leaning over your cot, her face a roadmap of worry lines, is an old woman from a nearby hovel. Her eyes, red-rimmed and heavy with unspoken fears, hold a desperate, almost fierce resolve. In her trembling, gnarled hands, she cradles a small, crudely carved wooden bowl, its dark surface worn smooth by time and use. A faint, unsettling odor reaches you, pushing through the oppressive smell of stale illness and damp straw. It's a strange, cloying mixture. Damp, ancient earth, something vaguely pungent and herbal, and a sharp, metallic undertone that prickles your nostrils, a memory of stagnant water or something worse. The liquid in her bowl isn't clear, isn't clean. It's a bruised, murky gray, opaque, with tiny flecks of dark sediment swirling sluggishly within its depths, like disturbed swamp water. Your fevered gaze, even through the blurring haze, clings to it, a raw, primal yearning for any form of moisture, however uninviting. She dips her fingers into the murky liquid, her movements slow, deliberate, as if performing a sacred, yet desperate, and perhaps forbidden rite. Her fingertips, surprisingly cool and rough, press against your burning forehead. But the liquid she applies is not the crisp, refreshing coolness you crave. Instead, it's clammy, almost viscous, feeling thick and strangely heavy against your skin. It trails down your temples, a chilling dampness that offers no actual relief from the inferno raging beneath, but rather an unsettling foreign touch. The herbal, earthy scent becomes stronger, almost suffocating. mixed with that insistent, unsettling metallic tang that seems to cling to the very air. She murmurs something, a low, guttural sound, a fragment of a prayer or an ancient chant, her eyes closed tightly in fervent concentration, her lips moving silently. Her other hand rests briefly, a frail, feather-light weight, on your chest, heavy with unspoken anxieties, with a desperate, superstitious hope that feels both profound and utterly futile. The moisture on your skin slowly begins to dry, not evaporating cleanly, but leaving behind a faint, chalky residue and the uncomfortable stickiness of something not meant for healing. The bitter aftertaste of your mother's salty tears still lingers in your mouth, and this new, strange dampness only seems to accentuate your unquenched thirst, a cruel reminder of what your body truly needs. You close your eyes again, the brief, unsettling interaction leaving you feeling more drained, more helpless than before. The touch of this unholy water, meant perhaps to cleanse or ward off evil, only highlights your body's profound lack of true life-giving liquid. It's a stark testament to the desperate lengths people will go, the strange rituals and dubious remedies they embrace, when all common sense and natural sources have dried up. In such times, fear can drive even the gentlest souls to grasp at the most unsettling solutions, blurring the line between faith and superstition, between genuine aid and a merely touching the void. Your tongue feels like a piece of sun-baked leather, rough and swollen, stuck stubbornly to the roof of your mouth. It's a parched, arid landscape, crisscrossed with tiny, painful cracks that sting with every minute, involuntary shift. Each breath you draw in, even through the faded scent of lavender on the rag you still clutch, feels like inhaling fine dust, further abrading the raw surfaces within your mouth and throat. The lingering memory of the old woman's unholy water, clammy and strangely metallic, does nothing to soothe this deep, searing dryness. It only accentuates the desperate, burning void. You try to move your jaw, to swallow, but it's a futile, agonizing effort. Your throat feels constricted, as if it's tightening into a knot, refusing passage. A sound tries to escape you, a desperate guttural rasp, but it catches, dying in your chest. It's not a word, not even a syllable, just a dry, brittle scrape, like dead leaves skittering across frozen ground, utterly devoid of moisture or meaning. The effort alone sends a fresh wave of dizziness through your fever-addled head, and the hut spins, its shadowed corners blurring into a suffocating vortex. You fall back against the straw, your body heavy, unresponsive, trapped within its own burning confines. The words, though unspoken, scream in your mind, a frantic, silent torrent of pleas and yearning. Not a coherent prayer, perhaps, but a raw, instinctual outpouring, a desperate bargain with anything that might be listening. You picture water, not the murky, expensive sip from the cellar, nor the shimmering, untouchable ice of the river, nor the cruel, forbidden gush of the castle fountain. Instead, you conjure an image of clear, cool spring water, bubbling over smooth stones, the kind you once drank without a second thought. You see it, taste it, feel its impossible coolness, a phantom sensation that both torments and sustains. Your eyes, burning and unfocused, track the single shaft of weak winter light that penetrates the hut's small window, painting a faint, ephemeral glow on the packed earth floor. It offers no warmth, no comfort, just a stark, undeniable presence that reminds you of the relentless passage of time, of each second stretching endlessly with this agonizing thirst. Your hand, weak and trembling, rises to your cracked lips, your fingers brushing against the painful, dry surface, an unconscious, futile attempt to soothe, to find some moisture. There is nothing but the roughness of your own skin, the biting cold of the air, and the relentless internal blaze. In this moment of profound, wordless anguish, you realize the true weight of silence. Not just the absence of sound, but the complete, crushing inability to express the torment consuming you. To be so desperate for a voice, for a single audible plea, and to have that avenue choked and broken by the very lack of what you need most. This isn't just a prayer on a cracked tongue. It's the quiet, agonizing struggle of the spirit against the brutal physical limitations of a body rapidly drying to dust, a stark testament to the human instinct to communicate suffering, even when the means are utterly gone. The edges of your vision begin to soften, then melt, blurring the rough-hewn timbers of the hut into indistinct, shifting forms. The world around you, already muted by fever and exhaustion, now warps and ripples, refusing to hold still. Your forehead still burns, a persistent furnace, but the sensation is distant, secondary to the strange visual ballet unfolding before your eyes. Shadows, usually a comforting blanket in the dim interior, begin to dance. They stretch and contract, elongate and shrink, taking on an unsettling life of their own, twisting into grotesque fleeting shapes that skitter across the walls and ceiling. You try to fix your gaze on a single point, but your eyes refuse to obey, darting erratically, chasing phantom movements. The straw beneath you seems to undulate, each dry stalk morphing into tiny, restless serpents, coiling and uncoiling. The heavy, unyielding silence of the hut is broken by phantom sounds, a faint, persistent gurgle, like distant water flowing over smooth stones, then a soft, tantalizing drip, drip, drip. Each sound is a cruel echo of your desperate thirst, a torment invented by your own fevered mind, offering the promise of relief only to snatch it away. You clench your jaw, trying to stop the auditory hallucinations, but they persist, a mocking symphony playing just at the edge of your perception. The dancing shadows begin to coalesce, forming fleeting, impossible images. You see streams, crystal clear, rushing through sun-dappled forests, the water so vibrant, so inviting. You see dewdrops clinging to blades of grass, each one a perfect, shimmering sphere. Then, the images twist, becoming distorted, menacing. The water turns black, viscous, swirling with unknown horrors. The dewdrops morph into oily, unblinking eyes that watch you from the dark. Your breath hitches, a dry, painful gasp in your throat. You know, dimly, that these are not real, that your mind is playing cruel tricks, but the distinction between waking and dreaming, between reality and illusion, has grown terrifyingly thin. You try to lift a hand, to wipe away the visions, to physically push back against the encroaching unreality, but your limbs feel impossibly heavy, leaden weights tethered to the straw. A cold sweat breaks out on your burning skin, yet your throat remains a parched desert, demanding, demanding, demanding. The figures in the shadows beckon, their movements fluid and tempting, offering unseen refreshment, pulling you deeper into their distorted world. You almost reach out, your fingers twitching, driven by a primal, desperate instinct, but a flash of pain in your head, sharp and insistent, anchors you, for a brief, agonizing moment, to your real, aching body. The world spins again, a dizzying kaleidoscope of dark and light, of imagined wetness and searing dryness. You are adrift, lost in the shifting landscape of your own failing mind, where the line between wish and nightmare blurs into a single, terrifying truth. This isn't just thirst or fever. This is the very essence of self beginning to unravel, where the deepest needs manifest as visions, both alluring and horrifying. You realize, then, how utterly fragile the mind is, how easily it can betray you, conjuring its own torments and its own false hopes, when the body's most basic desires are denied. The dancing shadows of delirium have begun to recede, leaving behind a new, more insidious torment. Now, the buzzing isn't outside you, not the distant hum of flies, but deeply, terrifyingly, smoshly smazen within. It starts as a faint, high-pitched whine, a fragile thread of sound spun somewhere behind your eyes, just beneath your temples. Then, it swells, growing steadily, relentlessly, into a full-blown, vibrant thrum, a frantic swarm of invisible insects trapped inside your skull. It vibrates against the bone, pressing outwards, a relentless pressure that makes your head feel ready to split open. You squeeze your eyes shut, trying to escape the auditory assault, but it only intensifies, a deafening chorus that drowns out all other senses. It's not a melodic sound, it's raw, grating, a continuous, maddening oscillation that seems to vibrate through your very teeth. Your jaw clenches involuntarily, and you can feel the faint trembling in your own muscles, a physical manifestation of the internal chaos. Every pulse of blood in your ears becomes an amplified throb, a drumbeat keeping time with the relentless, internal buzzing. The world outside, the cold hut, the straw beneath you, all of it fades, subsumed by this singular, all-encompassing vibration. You press the heels of your hands against your ears, hard, trying to push the sound away, to somehow physically dampen the internal cacophony. But it's useless. The buzzing is not coming into your ears. It's radiating from within your very being, a terrifying symphony of your body's rebellion. It feels as if your brain itself is vibrating, a quivering mass struggling to hold form against this relentless assault. Your vision, when you dare to open your eyes again, seems to shimmer, to pulse with the same rhythm, the hut walls breathing in and out with the internal thrum. It's a complete sensory takeover, a total immersion in the sounds of your own unraveling. Your parched tongue feels rougher, your throat even drier, as if the buzzing itself is drawing out the last vestiges of moisture, evaporating everything inside. A profound weakness washes over you, deeper than anything before, a sense of your very essence being shaken apart from within. You can feel the internal architecture of your body, the delicate balance, giving way under the strain. The buzzing isn't just a sound, it's the physical manifestation of your body crying out, of the very fabric of your being vibrating at its breaking point. In this relentless, internal maelstrom, you grasp a terrifying truth. The plague, coupled with this crushing thirst, isn't just attacking your limbs or your organs. It's invading the very core of your perception, twisting your senses, making your own body a source of unrelenting, inescapable torment. The buzzing inside your skull isn't merely discomfort. It's the sound of the body's final, desperate struggle, a chilling reminder of how profound dehydration can unravel not just physical form, but the very seat of consciousness itself, reducing existence to a painful, inescapable hum. The maddening buzz inside your skull has finally begun to recede, leaving behind a dull, throbbing echo. Your head still feels heavy, your throat raw and cracked, but the world around you is no longer a swirling hallucination. You're acutely aware of the straw beneath you, the cold seeping from the earth floor. Then, a new smell assaults your senses, cutting through the stale air of your hut, and the faint, putrid stench from outside. It's an acrid, pungent odor, sharp and chemical, like burnt sugar and sour wine, mixed with something earthy and metallic. It prickles your nostrils, a truly foreign, unsettling scent in the familiar misery of the village. You push yourself up, each movement a profound effort, your limbs heavy, protesting. The faint sound of bubbling, a low hiss, and the occasional soft clink of glass or ceramic accompanies the strange aroma. It's coming from further down the winding, narrow path towards the edge of the village where the more peculiar folk tend to settle. Hope, desperate and fragile, stirs within you. Is it a remedy, a strange brew, or just another torment? Your body, weakened and desperate, is drawn by this new, disturbing promise. You stumble out of the hut, pulling your threadbare tunic tighter, the lavender-scented rag still clutched in your hand, now a useless comfort against this new assault. The cold air bites, but the acrid smoke seems to defy it, hanging heavy and suffocating as you draw nearer. You find a small, crooked shack, its timber walls leaning precariously, smoke coiling from a cracked stone chimney like a witch's breath. It's the dwelling of the old hermit, whispered to be an alchemist, a dabbler in obscure arts, avoided by most. Today, it's a beacon of desperate, last-ditch hope. You push aside the tattered woolen flap that serves as a door. Inside, the air is thick, chokingly dense with the acrid fumes, making your eyes water and your throat, already raw, burn with a fresh intensity. Your head spins, the room a chaotic jumble of strange shadows. Shelves crammed with dusty, unlabeled jars, dried herbs hanging from the rafters like skeletal figures, and a small glowing brazier in the center of the packed earth floor dominates the space. Over the embers, a squat, earthenware pot bubbles sluggishly, emitting the offensive, chemical scent. A hunched figure, almost swallowed by the shadows, turns at your entrance. It's the alchemist, his face obscured by the cowl of his robe, his eyes glinting with a sharp, unsettling intelligence in the dim, smoky light. He says nothing, merely inclines his head, a silent acknowledgement of your presence and your unspoken, desperate plea. You stand there, swaying, your empty hands reaching out almost involuntarily, a raw, primal gesture of pure, unadulterated need. He watches you, then slowly, deliberately, reaches towards the bubbling pot. With a pair of blackened tongs, he pulls out a small, crudely stoppered vial, filled with a dark, viscous liquid that catches the light like congealed blood. He extends it towards you. You take it, your fingers fumbling around the cold glass, the liquid feeling oddly warm, almost alive. You uncork it, and the acrid smell intensifies, promising little comfort, yet you lift it to your lips. The first drop hits your cracked tongue like fire, then turns to ice, tasting of bitter roots and metallic dust, a complex, unsettling concoction. You swallow, a difficult, painful gulp, and feel it slide down your throat, not quenching but burning, leaving a strange, vibrating hum in your stomach, utterly unlike the buzzing in your head. This desperate measure, this bitter, burning hope, reveals how far you will venture from conventional paths when life itself hangs by a thread, blurring the line between medicine and poison, between sanity and utter desperation. The viscous liquid slides down your throat, not with the cool, life-giving rush you desperately craved, but with a harsh, burning bite that spreads rapidly through your already raw esophagus. It tastes of bitter earth and something metallic, like old rust, leaving a foul, clinging residue on your cracked tongue. The alchemist's shack, thick with acrid smoke, seems to swim around you as a fresh wave of nausea washes over your fevered body. Your stomach lurches, cramping with a sudden, violent spasm, as if rejecting the dark, unsettling brew you just forced down. You clutch the empty vial, its cold glass feeling strangely heavy in your shaking hand. For a fleeting second, a false sense of warmth spreads through your chest, a strange, internal flush that promises relief. Hope, a fragile, desperate thing, tries to flicker, but it dies almost instantly, snuffed out by the growing discomfort. The heat isn't soothing. It's an intensification of your fever, a fresh internal fire adding to the one that already rages. Your throat feels even drier now, the bitter taste clinging fiercely, exacerbating the gnawing thirst rather than alleviating it. A dull throb begins behind your eyes, a new, insistent pressure that makes the smoky air seem to press in on you from all sides. The alchemist watches you, a silent, unblinking presence in the dim light. His eyes, deep-set and shadowed, seem to peer into your very soul, devoid of any discernible emotion. He doesn't offer reassurance, no gesture of comfort, just a profound, unsettling stillness. You want to ask, to demand, if this is truly meant to help, but your tongue feels too thick, too heavy, the words caught in your parched throat, a silent scream that never finds release. The foul taste in your mouth, the rising nausea, the heightened fever, it's a clear, undeniable answer. This isn't a cure, it's just another form of torment. You turn away from his impassive gaze, your shoulders slumping, a profound weariness settling deeper into your bones. The air outside, though frigid, feels like a welcome escape from the suffocating chemical stench of the shack. You stumble back into the biting cold, the vial still clutched in your hand, now a symbol of your utter foolishness, your desperation. The taste in your mouth is a potent reminder of the false promise, a bitter, lingering echo of betrayed hope. You cough, a dry, ragged hack that tears at your raw throat, bringing no relief. This isn't the clean taste of healing herbs, nor the clear coolness of pure water. It is the very essence of a false cure, a desperate measure that only serves to deepen the agony. You realize, then, that in times of plague and profound scarcity, when hope itself becomes a currency, even the most outlandish, most bitter concoctions can be embraced, not out of faith, but out of sheer, terrifying desperation. The true poison, you understand, isn't just in the dark liquid, but in the crushing realization that even your most desperate gambles for survival yield nothing but a more profound, more bitter emptiness. The bitter taste of the alchemist's concoction still clings to your tongue, a harsh reminder of desperate, failed hope. The fever ebbs and flows, leaving you weak and disoriented, but the thirst remains, a relentless, burning void. The hours crawl by, marked only by the shifting shadows in your hut, until the deep, oppressive darkness of midnight descends. A new resolve, born of utter desperation, hardens within you. You must try again. You push yourself to your feet, your muscles screaming in protest, each movement a profound effort of will. The cold of the hut bites, sharp and unforgiving. You pull on your thickest, though still tattered, cloak, its wool scratchy against your feverish skin. The village outside is utterly silent, a dark, hulking silhouette beneath a sliver of moon. Even the usual, distant coughs and moans seem to be stifled, swallowed by the profound darkness. The air, heavy with the subtle scent of decay and frozen earth, seems to press in on you. You stumble out, your worn boots crunching faintly on the frost-hardened path. Your destination is the forest, that shadowed, forbidding place where whispers say a hidden spring still flows, untainted, beyond the reach of both plague and winter's cruel grip. It's a fool's errand, perhaps, a path fraught with unseen dangers, but the thought of that rumored water is a potent, irresistible lure. Your throat is so dry it aches, your cracked tongue a constant, agonizing presence. You move slowly, cautiously, your eyes straining to pierce the impenetrable darkness that swallows the familiar path edges. The bare branches of the trees overhead claw at the ink-black sky, their silhouettes like skeletal hands. The wind, a mournful whisper, rustles through the dry leaves, still clinging to some branches. Every sound is amplified in the profound silence of the night, every creak and groan of the ancient trees. You hold your breath, trying to be as silent as the falling snow, to avoid drawing any unwanted attention in this desolate, dangerous landscape. Then, just ahead, a sharp, sudden sound splinters the silence. A snap! It's the unmistakable breaking of a dry twig underfoot, crisp and loud in the absolute stillness. Your body freezes, every muscle tensing, your heart leaping into your throat with a frantic, suffocating beat. It's not your step. You are standing utterly still. The sound came from just beyond the nearest cluster of ancient oaks, deep within the shadows, off the main path. The air suddenly feels colder, prickling your skin with an icy premonition. You strain your ears, trying to discern any further movement, any telltale rustle or breath. Nothing. Just the continued heavy silence of the midnight forest, now fraught with a chilling tension. The initial fear, sharp and immediate, begins to give way to a different kind of dread, a primal instinct that whispers of something lurking, something unseen, something potentially more dangerous than the plague itself. The thought of water, once your sole focus, now contends with this new, terrifying presence. The snap of that twig isn't just a sound in the night. It's a sudden, stark reminder that in times of desperate scarcity, humans aren't the only predators in the darkness, and the quest for survival might lead you to confront far more than just thirst. The snap of the twig still echoes in the suffocating silence of the midnight forest. A sharp crack that has frozen your every muscle. Your heart, a frantic drum, pounds against your ribs, threatening to burst from your chest. You stand utterly still, straining your ears against the oppressive darkness, trying to discern any further sound, any breath, any rustle that might betray a hidden presence. But there is nothing. Just the vast, indifferent expanse of the winter woods, now charged with an unseen menace. The fear, a cold, piercing claw, tries to take root in your gut. But the relentless fire of your thirst is a more potent, more immediate master. It overrides caution, pushing you forward, silently urging you to investigate the source of the sound, to see if it leads to anything at all, that might offer moisture. You take a careful, almost imperceptible step, then another, inching your way off the main path, deeper into the dense thicket of trees where the sound originated. The skeletal branches overhead intertwine, blocking out the meager moonlight, plunging you into an even deeper, inkier darkness. The ground beneath your worn boots begins to change. The crisp, brittle crunch of frost-hardened earth gives way to something softer, something yielding. Your foot sinks slightly, no longer resisting with the dry rigidity of frozen soil, but absorbing your weight with a spongy, almost living give. Then, a new sensation washes over you, profound and startling in its unexpectedness, the distinct, cool touch of dampness. Not the biting cold of ice, but the soft, saturated embrace of living moisture. You press your foot down again, deliberately, feeling the dense, velvety texture give way under your boot. It's moss, you realize, thick and pervasive, a carpet of vibrant green that blankets the forest floor here, defying the harsh grip of winter. The coolness seeps through the thin leather of your boots, a subtle, incredible sensation that sends a shiver, not of cold but of profound relief, up your legs. A faint, earthy scent rises with each step, a smell of rich, wet soil and verdant growth, so utterly different from the pervasive decay and dry dust that has defined your world for so long. You stop, sinking to your knees, heedless of the chilling dampness that now permeates your tattered cloak. You reach out, your fingers trembling, and press your palm against the velvety surface of the moss. It's exquisitely cool, moist to the touch, and unbelievably soft, yielding like a forgotten cushion. The contrast with the feverish heat of your own skin, the parched roughness of your tongue, is so stark it almost brings a fresh wave of tears to your eyes. This isn't water to drink, not yet, but it's a living testament to water's presence, a silent, undeniable whisper of life in a world that has seemed intent on dying. In that small, dark clearing, surrounded by the silent, ancient trees, the feel of damp moss underfoot is more than just a physical sensation. It is a fragile, desperate promise, a tiny, vibrant spark of hope in the overwhelming desolation. It suggests that even in the most barren times, when all seems lost, life finds a way to cling on, to endure, to nurture a hidden wellspring of possibility. This unexpected dampness, this soft, living patch of green, reminds you that even the smallest pockets of resilience can hold the greatest, most enduring meaning. The damp moss, a cool whisper against your trembling fingers, offers a fragile promise, but no true relief for the fire in your throat. You push aside the velvety green, the cold, wet earth biting at your bare hands as you dig, frantically, blindly, into the dark soil beneath. Your fingers, raw and clumsy, scrape against unseen stones and stubborn clumps of frozen dirt. The deep, earthy scent of the undisturbed ground rises, thick and primal, mixing with the damp chill that seeps into your bones, a stark contrast to the burning inferno that rages inside you. You claw deeper, driven by an instinct far older than conscious thought. Your breath comes in ragged gasps, each one a painful scrape against your parched throat. The muscles in your shoulders and arms ache with the unfamiliar exertion, a dull, pervasive protest against your desperate quest. Your fevered mind, still hazy at the edges, latches onto the idea that water must be here, hidden, just below the surface, trapped within the earth itself. The small, wet patches you uncover are not enough. You need more. You need a source, something undeniable. Your fingers brush against something strong, unyielding, yet pliable, a root. Thick and sinuous, it snakes through the frozen earth, anchoring itself deeply. You grasp it, your cold, trembling fingers closing around its rough, gnarled surface. It feels strangely alive, resistant, a lifeline to something unseen. You pull, straining every fiber of your weakened body, grunting with effort. The root resists, clinging stubbornly to its subterranean hold, a contest of wills between the dying and the deeply rooted. Dirt flakes away, cold and wet, falling onto your face, tasting of minerals and decay. Then, with a sudden, tearing sound, a dull, organic snap that vibrates through your bones, the root gives way. It comes free with a heavy thud, pulling a clump of rich, dark earth with it. A small, triumphant victory in the profound silence of the forest. And with its release, a new smell erupts, sharp and insistent, flooding your senses. It's the raw, potent fragrance of freshly pulled earth, damp and cool, mixed with the unique, slightly bitter aroma of the root itself. It smells of deep soil, of hidden moisture, of the very essence of the forest floor, a scent that is both intensely grounding and overwhelmingly tantalizing. You bring the root closer, its coarse texture rough against your cheek, its earthy smell filling your nostrils. You press it against your lips, your cracked tongue instinctively searching for moisture. It's damp, undeniably damp, but offers no real liquid, no discernible drop to quench the fire. Yet the coolness, the raw, living essence of it against your parched skin, is a profound sensation, a fleeting, almost sacred contact with the source of life itself. In this primal moment, you feel a connection to the very earth, a desperate kinship with anything that holds the promise of moisture. This raw, earthy scent, the very struggle to pull life from the ground, reminds you of the profound, brutal simplicity of survival, stripped down to its barest, most elemental form. You sit there, knees aching, the freshly pulled root clutched in your hand, its earthy scent a stark reminder of its limited relief. The cool dampness of the moss permeates your tattered cloak, offering a fleeting surface-level comfort against the internal fire of your thirst. You stare at the gnarled root, desperate, confused, wondering how to extract the hidden moisture it promises. Your mind, still hazy from fever, struggles to piece together a solution, a way to truly drink, to finally douse this inferno. A subtle shift in the surrounding darkness makes you lift your head, your eyes darting nervously. Standing a few paces away, half obscured by the ancient trees, is a figure you hadn't noticed before. It's an old woman, her form hunched and small, wrapped in layers of rough, dark cloth that seems to absorb the faint moonlight. She carries no lamp, no visible possessions, yet her presence is strangely solid, unhurried, almost timeless. She is one of the forest folk, an outcast from the village, known for her solitary life and her strange, quiet ways. A flicker of unease, then a deeper, more profound curiosity stirs within you. She says nothing, simply watches you, her face a network of deep wrinkles, barely visible in the gloom. But her eyes, they are old, incredibly old, shining with a calm, penetrating intelligence that seems to cut through the shadows and straight into your desperate, weary soul. There's no judgment in them, no fear, only a profound, quiet understanding of your suffering, of your raw, primal struggle. You feel exposed, yet oddly not vulnerable, under their steady gaze. She sees you, truly sees your thirst, your fever, your utter desolation, without a word. Slowly, deliberately, she takes a single step forward, then another, until she stands just a few feet from you. Her hand, gnarled and surprisingly strong, rises, not towards you, but towards the root in your grasp. Her fingers, dark and earth-stained, gently cup yours around the coarse root, a light, almost imperceptible touch. She gestures with a slight tilt of her head towards a jagged, broken stone embedded in the mossy ground nearby, then back to the root, a silent, clear instruction. Her gaze holds yours, unwavering, filled with a quiet wisdom that needs no words. You understand. With renewed, albeit clumsy effort, you follow her silent lead. You bring the root to the sharp edge of the stone and, with a grim determination, begin to scrape, to tear at its fibrous skin, driven by the profound knowledge in her silent eyes. The rough bark comes away in shreds, revealing a paler, softer core. The earthy scent intensifies, promising something more. In that profound silence, under the watchful gaze of the outcast, you realize that true wisdom isn't always spoken. It can be a silent gaze, a gentle touch, a simple, clear gesture that cuts through the noise of panic and desperation. The wisdom in her old, knowing eyes isn't just about survival in the wilderness. It's about recognizing the deepest human needs and offering a path, however humble, when all else has failed. It makes you realize how often salvation comes from the most unexpected, overlooked corners of the world, carried not by power or wealth, but by a quiet, shared understanding of what it means to simply endure. The root, stripped bare and offering only a meager dampness, is still in your hand, a constant, frustrating reminder of your unquenched thirst. The outcast woman, a silent sentinel of ancient wisdom, watches you with her knowing eyes. The air around you, however, begins to shift, to subtly change. A deepening chill seeps into your bones, but it carries a new scent, sharp and clean, a hint of something fresh, something falling from above. You feel it first, a feather-light touch on your burning cheek, a single, almost imperceptible drop of cold moisture, a tiny, fleeting caress against your fevered skin. Then another drop, distinct and startling, and another. Your eyes, heavy and gritty from illness and the long, sleepless night, lift instinctively towards the sky. The heavy, oppressive darkness that has cloaked the forest canopy slowly begins to lighten, not with the fiery blush of dawn, but with a diffuse, ethereal glow from an unseen source high above. The sky is a vast, unbroken canvas of bruised charcoal gray, a somber weeping expanse that stretches endlessly overhead. And from it a silent, steady descent begins. Tiny, delicate flakes, soft as ash, begin to fall. They aren't the hard, biting sleet you sometimes endure, nor the heavy, wet snow that brings deep drifts, but fine, ethereal particles that drift down with a mournful, almost sorrowful grace, catching the spectral light. They land on your face, cold and feather-light, melting instantly on your feverish skin, each one leaving behind a fleeting touch of pure, clean moisture. You tilt your head back further, letting the countless, tiny flakes gather on your upturned face, on your cracked lips, a delicate, cold caress that feels both real and dreamlike. Each one is a minute, transient burst of coolness, a microscopic gulp of purity that vanishes almost before it's consciously registered. But the sheer volume, the relentless, ceaseless descent, creates an overwhelming, pervasive sensation of dampness that begins to penetrate your thin clothing. The forest around you starts to transform, the dark, skeletal branches of the ancient trees slowly acquiring a fragile, shimmering coat of pristine white, like old bones draped in delicate lace. The air fills with a hushed, almost reverent quiet, punctuated only by the soft, almost inaudible sound of countless flakes touching earth, a vast, silent sigh from the world. The outcast woman beside you remains utterly still, her gaze fixed on the weeping sky, a quiet, almost reverent awe in her ancient eyes. She doesn't move, doesn't speak, simply breathes in the pure, cold air that now carries the faint, clean scent of falling snow, mingled with the damp, earthy aroma of the moss. Her presence, usually so grounded and practical, now seems to merge with the ethereal beauty of the falling flakes, a silent observer of nature's unexpected, profound gift. You try, instinctively, to catch the flakes on your tongue, but they dissolve too quickly, ephemeral and tantalizing, offering only the ghost of a taste, a whisper of what your body truly craves with such desperate intensity. Yet, the coolness, the all-encompassing sensation of external moisture is undeniably real. It permeates your hair, gathers on your tattered cloak, clinging to every surface, chilling your skin in a way that is somehow less harsh than the bitter wind. It feels as if the sky itself is weeping, not tears of sorrow for a dying world, but rather tears of gray, crystalline mercy, falling gently upon a parched and suffering land. The internal fire in your throat still rages, the thirst still gnaws with a dull, persistent ache, but for a brief, bewildering moment, The sheer, impossible presence of this falling water provides a different, unexpected kind of relief. It's a profound sensory paradox. No drinkable water, yet surrounded by a ceaseless soft deluge, a world saturated with the very thing you lack. The gray tears from the sky continue their silent, relentless fall, settling on your upturned face. Each flake a whisper of moisture that instantly vanishes. But as you watch, they don't simply disappear. They begin to gather, collecting on the wide, flat leaves of the forest undergrowth, coalescing in hollows between the moss-covered roots. The ethereal beauty of the snowfall starts to feel less like a blessing and more like a cruel tease, a vast, unreachable ocean of tiny, ephemeral drops that offer no true relief to the inferno in your throat. The old woman, a silent sentinel, remains still beside you, her gaze steady on the gathering moisture. Then, with a slow, deliberate movement, she lifts a gnarled hand and points. Not towards the falling flakes, but towards a small depression in the forest floor, just beyond a gnarled oak, where the moss gives way to dark, exposed earth. Her eyes, ancient and knowing, meet yours for a fleeting second, conveying a silent, urgent message. Her presence, usually so reassuring, now carries a subtle tension, a warning that threads through the damp, cold air. You push yourself forward, your stiff muscles protesting, crawling towards the spot she indicated. Your heart thumps with a fresh surge of hope, a desperate, frantic beat against your ribs, spurred on by her silent guidance. There, nestled amongst the damp moss and fallen leaves, a small, dark pool shimmers. It's a puddle, fed by the endless, silent weeping of the sky, a tangible collection of what has only been a fleeting touch on your skin. Pure, fresh water at last, you think. A single, potent thought that pushes aside all caution. You drag yourself closer, your cracked lips already parting, eager to plunge your face into it, to finally douse the fire that rages within. Your fingers, raw from digging, reach out, trembling with anticipation. But then, you stop. Just as your hand hovers over the surface, a faint, sickening sheen catches your eye. An iridescent film coats the puddle, swirling with unsettling, unnatural colors, oily purples and greens that catch the dim light in a grotesque dance. And beneath it, just at the bottom, something dark, something too still, too unnatural, lies partially submerged, its edges blurring into the murky depths. It's an old rag, perhaps, or a discarded pelt, leaching its foulness into the seemingly pure gift from the sky. A subtle, metallic odor, like rust, mixed with something putrid, something sickly, rises from the puddle, mingling with the clean scent of the falling snow, creating a bitter, nauseating contradiction. Your thirst, so absolute, clashes violently with the sudden, undeniable, nauseating realization. This water, so close, so tempting, is not life. It's a trick, a cruel, deceptive mirror, reflecting the pervasive sickness that has seeped into every corner of your world, tainting even the purest sources. You recoil, a dry, bitter gasp tearing at your throat, your body convulsing with a fresh wave of nausea. The outcast woman watches, her gaze unwavering, her silent wisdom now a stark, chilling confirmation of this poisoned truth. Even the sky's benevolence, it seems, cannot escape the silent, insidious hand of the plague. You realize then how deeply corruption can penetrate not just the wells and rivers, but even the purest, most elemental gifts, transforming the very essence of hope into a source of profound, sickening danger. In a world starved for life, even the promise of nature can become a deadly deception, making you question the very concept of purity in a world so deeply tainted. The image of the poisoned puddle, its oily sheen a cruel mockery, burns behind your eyes, a fresh scar on your desperate hope. You turn away from the outcast woman, her silent wisdom now a heavy burden, and stumble out of the forest, the falling snow clinging to your lashes, melting into bitter tears on your fevered cheeks. The village, when you finally reach its edge, is a desolate landscape shrouded in a fresh, pristine layer of white. But the silence is different now, pierced by a new, rhythmic sound that emanates from the heart of the houses. It's the unmistakable rhythmic of a blacksmith's bellows, a powerful, measured breath that cuts through the hushed falling snow. And with it a faint, insistent hiss, a sound of intense heat meeting cold, of transformation, of raw power. Your exhausted body, still burning with fever and thirst, is drawn by this new primal energy, by the faint shimmering glow that pulses from the direction of the forge. A final, desperate idea begins to form in your weary mind, a mad, improbable thought. You push through the deeper drifts of snow, your feet numb, your legs heavy. The air grows warmer as you approach, a wave of intense, dry heat washing over you, replacing the pervasive cold. The scent of burnt coal and hot metal, sharp and acrid, stings your nostrils, mingling with the clean, cold smell of fresh snow. You reach the open doorway of the forge, and the blast of heat nearly knocks you back. Inside, the space is a fiery maw, orange and red light pulsing with every breath of the bellows. The blacksmith, a hulking silhouette outlined by the intense glow, works at his anvil, his hammer ringing with dull thuds. Steam, thin and ephemeral, rises from a barrel of dark, murky water near his feet, where he douses his searing hot metal. And then you see it. A single piece of iron, glowing cherry red, pulled from the roaring heart of the forge. He plunges it into the water, and a violent, furious hiss asterisk erupts, a cloud of scalding steam exploding upwards, thick and choking. The metallic clang of the cooling iron is deafening, jarring your raw nerves. Your eyes, wide and fixed, track the barrel, then the steam, then the metal. It's a raw, elemental display of heat and water, of fire in its antithesis. The rhythmic whoosh and sigh of the bellows, though providing the life-giving oxygen for the forge, feels profoundly dry, pushing parched air against your face, emphasizing the thirst. You can almost feel the dry leather of its folds, inhaling nothing but the acrid fumes of combustion. You watch the blacksmith, his face slick with sweat, his muscles straining, his movements precise and powerful. He pulls another piece of metal, red hot, from the glowing coals. As he dunks it again, the hiss is a sound of almost painful intensity, a sudden, violent shriek of transformation. You feel the heat radiating from it, a searing wave that seems to penetrate your bones, and then you realize this is a source of water. A volatile, dangerous source, yes, but real water. The blacksmith's trade, an art of fire, unexpectedly offers a glimpse of the very element you crave. This inferno, this controlled chaos of hot metal and hissing steam, paradoxically holds the key to the impossible liquid. It's a stark, brutal contrast, the very act of creating heat, releasing the essence of water, making you realize how profoundly interconnected these opposing forces of nature truly are, and how desperate times can twist your perception of even the most fundamental elements. The hiss of the hot metal as it plunges into the murky water still rings in your ears, a searing sound that vibrates through the very bones of the forge. The blast of steam, thick and scalding, disperses into the suffocating heat of the room, leaving the air dry and charged with the acrid scent of burnt coal. You stand there, a specter of illness and thirst, your gaze fixed not just on the water barrel, but on the man who commands this elemental chaos, the blacksmith. He is a hulking figure, his body a testament to years of grueling labor. His shoulders are wide, heavy, his brawny arms corded with muscle that flexes and strains with every swing of his hammer. Sweat, thick and glistening, streams down his tanned, grimy skin, instantly evaporating in the intense heat, leaving behind a salty crust that catches the flickering orange glow of the forge. His leather apron, stiff and blackened, is plastered to his chest with exertion. He moves with a powerful, almost primal grace, each motion economical, purposeful, as if his very being is forged from the same unforgiving material he hammers on the anvil. You look closer at his face, framed by a thick, dark beard streaked with gray. Lines of deep fatigue are etched around his eyes, which are bloodshot from the heat and the constant glare of the fire, yet they hold a fierce, unwavering concentration. His lips are dry, cracked, much like your own, a stark, unspoken acknowledgement of the shared, relentless thirst that plagues the village. Even here, amidst the steam and the murky water of the quenching barrel, the constant, draining heat demands more and more from his body, turning him into a human furnace, perpetually dehydrating. His breath comes in heavy, ragged gasps, deep draws of the hot, sooty air that offer no relief. He lifts the hammer again, its weight immense, and brings it down on the glowing metal with a deafening clang that shakes the very ground. The sparks fly, a showering galaxy of fiery light, illuminating the taut muscles of his back and shoulders, the trembling in his powerful frame. He is an engine of raw force, yet even his monumental strength feels vulnerable, besieged by the same relentless conditions that are slowly consuming everyone. You see the subtle tremor in his hand as he reaches for a damp cloth, not to drink, but to wipe the sweat from his brow, a fleeting, almost desperate gesture for any moisture. In that moment, watching him, you understand that his body is itself a kind of forge, constantly burning, constantly working, constantly demanding water to cool its internal fires. His endurance isn't just a matter of muscle. It's a profound, defiant will to continue, even as his own cells cry out for relief. He is a living monument to human resistance against impossible odds, a man whose very existence is a powerful, brutal testament to the cost of sustaining life when the most fundamental elements are denied. His struggle is a silent, unyielding prayer, forged in the relentless heat and the unquenchable thirst that defines this devastating time. You leave the blacksmith's forge, the metallic tang of burnt coal still lingering in your nostrils, the intense heat, a fading memory on your skin, the air outside, now thick with the continued silent fall of gray snow, feels like a sudden plunge into ice. Your body aches, a profound exhaustion settling deep in your bones, but the thirst remains, a constant, burning demand. You try to push the image of the quenching barrel from your mind, the unattainable water, and move slowly, blindly, through the deepening white. A new sound, faint and rhythmic, begins to filter through the hushed snowfall as you near the cluster of small, wooden cottages at the edge of the village. It's a soft, rhythmic thwack-thwack asterisk. Then, a gentle, almost musical clack-thua, a tisen million surzas. Atisen million surzas, a million surzas. Atisen million surzas, Atisen surzas, Atisen million surzas. It's the familiar sound of a handloom at work, a surprising whisper of industry in a village otherwise gripped by silence and despair. Curiosity, a fragile tendril of human connection, pulls you towards it, away from the encroaching, desolate white. You reach a small, unassuming cottage, its single window glowing with a weak, flickering light. The rhythmic sounds are clearer here, the steady cadence of shuttle and loom, a counterpoint to the quiet fall of snow. You push open the creaking wooden door, and a wave of damp, earthy air, heavy with the scent of raw wool and damp cloth, washes over you, momentarily startling your dry senses. Inside, the space is small, cramped, dominated by the massive wooden frame of a loom, its intricate threads stretching taut. A young woman sits hunched over the loom, her back to you, her head bowed in concentration. Her movements are fluid, practiced, her hands flying through the intricate dance of shuttle and warp, even in the dim light of a sputtering tallow candle. But as she reaches to tighten a thread, her finger brushes against a loose, almost invisible snag in the fabric. Her hand hesitates. Then you hear a soft, almost imperceptible scrape sound. She pulls back her hand, and in the flickering light you see a fresh, tiny streak of crimson on the white thread. Her skin, you realize, is not smooth. Her fingers, usually nimble and delicate, are chapped and raw, a network of tiny fissures and painful cracks, dried from lack of moisture. One of these tiny cracks has caught on the thread, tearing open a fresh wound, a bead of dark blood now welling up, stark against her pale skin. She pauses for a moment, pressing her thumb against the wound, her eyes closed in a brief grimace of pain. There's no water to clean it, no balm to soothe it, just the quick, instinctive pressure of her other hand. She continues her work, her movements slightly stiffer now, but relentless, unyielding. The raw, chafing pain of her broken skin, the snag of the thread, is just another burden, another cost of simply continuing. Her body, like the dry threads she weaves, is slowly fraying, cracking under the relentless pressure of drought and disease. Her endurance, however, is not a grand, epic struggle, but a quiet, tenacious act of defiance, a simple refusal to succumb. The quiet pluck of the thread, the subtle grimace of pain on her face, reveals how even the most mundane acts of labor become a profound, painful testament to human fragility and fierce, silent resistance in a world that denies even the simplest comfort of unbroken skin. You stand in the weaver's small cottage, the rhythmic thwack-thwack of the loom a steady pulse in the damp air. The scent of raw wool and damp cloth, earthy and subtly organic, fills your nostrils, a welcome change from the pervasive smell of decay outside. Your eyes are drawn from the weaver's broken skin, from the tiny drop of blood on the white thread, to the unfinished tapestry stretched taut on the loom before her. It is a vast, intricate creation, meticulously woven, each thread a testament to countless hours of focused labor. The scene it depicts is one of lush, vibrant life. A rolling meadow, bursting with 1,000 shades of green, dotted with colorful, blooming wildflowers. In the center, a crystal-clear river, rendered in shimmering blues and whites, flows freely, its surface alive with the imagined glint of sunlight. Trees, their leaves a rich, vibrant emerald, reach towards a sky of serene, cloudless azure. It's a vision of natural abundance, of a world overflowing with life and, crucially, with water. The contrast with the stark, frozen, plague-ridden landscape outside and the parched, burning desert within your own body is so profound it's almost dizzying. You reach out a trembling hand, your fingertips brushing lightly against the woven fabric. It feels cool, surprisingly soft and yielding, the intricate patterns a testament to the weaver's skill. But there's no dampness here, no actual coolness to soothe your burning skin. It's merely an illusion, a masterfully crafted memory of a world that no longer exists, a dream held in threads. The threads themselves, you notice, are stiff, dry, brittle even, their natural oils seemingly evaporated, much like the moisture from your own skin. The vibrant colors, though still beautiful, seem slightly muted, dulled by an unseen film of dust, by the sheer encompassing dryness of the air. The weaver glances up, her eyes meeting yours across the loom. There's a quiet weariness in her gaze, a profound sadness, but also an undeniable flicker of something else, a deep, fierce longing. She doesn't need to speak. The tapestry itself is her silent, eloquent cry, her enduring prayer for a lost world, for a time when water flowed freely and the land was green. Her calloused, cracked fingers, marked by both work and the brutal lack of moisture, continue their rhythmic dance, weaving this impossible dream, this vibrant, enduring vision of a world she can only remember or imagine. In that small, quiet cottage, surrounded by the scent of dry wool and the rhythmic clack of the loom, you realize the true power of creation in times of profound suffering. The tapestry isn't just a piece of art. It's a testament to the human spirit's ability to conjure beauty, to hold on to hope, even when faced with the harshest, most desolate reality. It reveals how in a parched world where actual water is so scarce, the human imagination can become its own spring, weaving dreams of abundance, of life, and of profound, enduring memory, a silent, colorful defiance against the encroaching emptiness. This tapestry is a poignant reminder that even when reality is brutal, the yearning for beauty, for a richer, more abundant world remains etched deep within the human heart, a quiet, woven testament to a parched world. The weaver's tapestry, a vibrant dream of a parched world, slowly recedes from your mind as you step back into the biting cold of the winter village. The gray snow continues its silent fall, accumulating on every surface, muffling all sounds to a hushed, ethereal stillness. Your throat remains a parched, aching desert, the fire burning low but relentlessly within. You feel weak, your body a heavy burden, each step a struggle against the profound exhaustion that threatens to pull you down into the deepening drifts. You walk without direction, your mind dulled by thirst and fever, when a sound, barely a whisper at first, pierces the blanket of snow-dampened silence. It's an almost imperceptible time drip, followed by a long, agonizing pause, then another asterisk drip. Rhythmic, distant, and utterly distinct. It's the sound of falling water, so precise, so measured, that it seems to hang in the air. A phantom bell tolling the passage of time. Your head snaps up, your eyes darting through the swirling flakes, straining to locate its source. It's too steady for melting ice, too isolated for a stream. You push forward, guided by this mesmerizing, maddening rhythm. Your feet crunch through the fresh snow, each step an effort, your breath ragged clouds in the frigid air. The drip, drip, drip grows subtly louder, drawing you deeper into the abandoned, more desolate edges of the village. The houses here are mere skeletal frames, their roofs collapsed, their windows hollow eyes staring out at the falling snow. The air itself feels colder here, heavier, tinged with a deeper, more pervasive scent of decay. You round a crumbling corner and find yourself in a small, enclosed courtyard, sheltered from the main thoroughfare. Before you stands the ruins of what was once a grand manor, its stone walls now crumbling, its ornate roof partially caved in. And there it is. From a gaping fissure in the shattered stone gutter, high above, a single measured drop of water gathers, glistens, then falls. Drip. It lands on a cracked flagstone below, sending a tiny, perfect splash of moisture scattering onto the snow. Then the agonizing pause. Then another drop. Drip. You stand there utterly mesmerized, your entire being focused on this singular rhythmic descent. The sound echoes in the hushed courtyard, each drip magnified, resonating deep within your chest, a torturous counterpoint to the raging thirst within. The water itself is clear, almost pristine, glinting like a jewel in the diffuse light that filters through the falling snow. It collects in a minuscule depression on the flagstone, forming a tiny, perfect bead, too small to collect, too precious to waste. You lift your hand, your fingers trembling, and try to catch a drop. It lands on your palm, a feather-light touch of incredible coolness, then vanishes, absorbed into your feverish skin before you can bring it to your lips. The elusive nature of it, the agonizing slowness of its descent, is almost unbearable. This isn't a flowing river, not a gushing fountain. It's the barest, most painful trickle of life, a measured, mocking cadence of what your body so desperately craves. This echo of a single, measured drop isn't just a sound. It's a profound, agonizing lesson in the true nature of scarcity, where even the most fundamental essence of life is meted out with cruel, deliberate slowness, making you realize the excruciating power of patience and the unbearable torment of its absence. The ceaseless drip, drip, drip from the broken gutter has finally ceased, the last of the falling snow having gathered into a small, fragile pool on the cracked flagstone. You kneel there, shivering, your entire being focused on that minuscule shimmering expanse. The old woman, the outcast, is gone, vanished as silently as she appeared, leaving you alone with the profound, tantalizing presence of this collected moisture. It's barely enough to fill the palm of your hand, a mere swallow, but it is pure, untainted, a desperate blessing after days of agony. With slow, deliberate movements, as if performing a sacred ritual, you cup your hands, carefully gathering the precious liquid. The cold seeps into your skin, a sharp, immediate shock that makes your fingers ache, but you hold them steady, unwilling to lose a single drop. The water, clear and pristine, trembles in your cupped palms, reflecting the pale gray sky like a tiny liquid mirror. It smells of melting snow, of clean air, of nothing but the bare, elemental essence of water itself, a scent so pure it almost brings tears to your burning eyes. You lift your hands to your lips, a journey that feels like an eternity. Your cracked tongue, a raw, parched landscape, instinctively pushes forward, touching the surface of the cold liquid. The sensation is exquisite, a shock of pure, unadulterated coolness that sends a jolt through your entire system. You take a single, slow sip, a minuscule amount, letting it linger on your tongue, feeling its coolness seep into the deepest crevices of your mouth. It's not just wetness. It's a living thing, cool and vital, washing away the bitter taste of illness and the lingering metallic tang of false hopes. You swallow, slowly, deliberately. The single drop slides down your raw, aching throat, a tangible physical sensation of relief so profound it's almost painful. It coats the parched lining of your esophagus, cooling the burning inferno there, leaving behind a fleeting, glorious trail of wetness. The fire in your gut doesn't vanish, not entirely, but it recedes, replaced by a subtle, deep-seated shiver of pure contentment, a momentary truce in the relentless war your body is waging. You feel the coolness spread, a gentle wave of liquid life reaching into your stomach, a small, precious offering to the desolation within. You close your eyes, savoring the lingering taste, the memory of that single, perfect sip. It's not enough to cure, not enough to truly quench the deep, pervasive thirst that still gnaws at you, but it is enough to remind you of what pure water truly feels like, what it truly means. In that quiet, snow-dusted courtyard, the smallness of the sip magnifies its power, transforming it from a simple liquid into a profound meditation on existence itself. It reveals how even in the face of overwhelming scarcity, a single pure drop can hold an entire universe of meaning, transforming mere survival into a moment of sacred, unwavering appreciation for the most elemental gift of life. The memory of that single precious sip of pure snowmelt lingers on your tongue, a ghost of relief in your still parched throat. You leave the snow-dusted courtyard, the relentless gray flakes continuing their silent descent, and stumble back towards your hovel, your body heavy with fever and exhaustion. The cold bites, sharp and unforgiving, but now it feels almost clean. As you enter your hut, the familiar smell of damp straw and stale illness, usually so oppressive, seems to have been momentarily banished by the pure, cold scent clinging to your clothes. You collapse onto the straw, every muscle aching, every bone protesting. The fever still rages, but the raw, incessant demand for water has dulled slightly, replaced by a profound, pervasive longing, not just for a drink, but for something else, something almost forgotten, a memory of sensory luxury that now feels impossibly distant, the feeling of being utterly immersed in water. As you lie there, drifting in and out of a feverish haze, the familiar contours of your tiny hut begin to warp and shimmer. The rough, packed earth floor seems to expand, stretching out, and in its center, a deep, rectangular depression begins to form. It's a wooden tub, large and smooth-sided, perfectly formed for a human body. And it's not empty. It's filled to the brim with water, clear and impossibly blue, catching the spectral light that filters through your fevered eyelids. You hear it too, a faint ethereal splash, then a soft rhythmic lapping, the gentle undulation of liquid against wood. It's the sound of a full bath, the rich, comforting sound of boundless water, a symphony of liquid abundance. The air around you, usually dry and biting, grows warm and humid, heavy with the scent of steam and something sweet, like dried herbs or scented soap. You can almost feel the vapor clinging to your skin, moisturizing, soothing, a profound contrast to the rough, dry linen that still chafes against your forehead. You push yourself up, your limbs feeling light and strangely eager, drawn towards the shimmering vision. Your bare feet, usually flinching from the cold, feel no chill as you approach the phantom tub. The water within seems to beckon, its surface calm and inviting. You reach out a trembling hand, your fingers hovering just above the pristine surface. It's warm, you imagine, perfectly warm, wrapping around your body like a soft, comforting embrace. The craving for its touch, for the profound, cleansing immersion, is almost overwhelming, a yearning that goes beyond mere thirst, reaching into the deepest parts of your soul. The ghost of a full bath, then, is more than just a hallucination. It's a powerful, wrenching memory of a forgotten world, a testament to the simple, profound luxury of abundance. It reveals how deeply ingrained the comfort of water is in the human experience, how its absence becomes not just a physical pain, but a spiritual one, twisting even the most mundane memories into desperate, tantalizing visions. In this feverish dream, you realize that water isn't just about survival, it's about cleanliness, comfort, and the profound, comforting ritual of being fully embraced by its life-giving presence, a stark reminder of what has been so cruelly, thoroughly lost. The ghost of the full bath, that shimmering vision of clean water, fades from your feverish mind, leaving behind a stark, undeniable reality. You are still lying on the scratchy straw of your hut, and the cold, damp earth presses up from below. But now, as the illusion recedes, a far more insistent, more aggravating sensation begins to demand your full attention. It's an itch. Deep-seated and relentless, it starts on your arms, then spreads, a crawling, prickling torment beneath your skin, seemingly everywhere at once. You try to scratch, your fingers raking against the rough, woolen fabric of your tunic. It's a futile effort. The cloth itself, stiff with accumulated grime and dried sweat, feels abrasive, scraping against your skin without offering any true relief. The itch persists, 1,000 invisible insect bites burrowing deep, driving you mad. You can feel the layers of dirt, the weeks of unwashed skin, thick and caked beneath your nails as you try to reach the source of the torment. It's a sickening texture, a grimy film that clings to every pore, a constant, unpleasant reminder of your profound uncleanliness. Your skin itself feels parched, taut, stretched thin over your feverish bones, yet paradoxically it's also sticky, clammy with dried sweat and the subtle, pervasive odor of unwashed body. You run a hand over your arm, feeling the tiny bumps of goose flesh rise beneath the grime, and the rough, chapped patches where your skin has cracked from the cold and the lack of moisture. The itch is a direct consequence of this accumulated filth, a desperate cry from your skin for the one thing that could soothe it: clean, running water. The memory of the phantom bath now becomes a cruel, almost mocking taunt, its imagined warmth and purity, a stark contrast to this suffocating, physical reality. You shift, restlessly, trying to rub away the irritation against the straw, but it only seems to exacerbate the problem. The dry, brittle stalks prick and poke, adding to the pervasive discomfort. Your mind, already weary from fever and thirst, struggles to focus on anything beyond this nagging torment. It's not just a physical sensation, it's an invasion, a constant, irritating presence that consumes your thoughts, making it impossible to find even a moment of peace. The indignity of it, the feeling of being utterly unclean, infected not just by illness but by filth itself, is a profound, soul-deep assault. The unrelenting itch under the grime is a slow, insidious torture, a constant, physical reminder of the brutal conditions, of the absence of even the most basic human comforts. It reveals how profoundly cleanliness, too, is a form of dignity, a fundamental aspect of the human condition that can be stripped away, leaving you not just physically uncomfortable, but profoundly diminished. The sheer maddening persistence of this small, constant torment makes you understand that the struggle for survival isn't just about avoiding death. It's about maintaining a semblance of self, even when your own skin feels like a foreign, dirty cage. The unrelenting itch under your grime-caked skin has finally begun to recede, dulled by exhaustion and the persistent haze of fever. You lie on the straw, barely aware of the passage of time, your body a heavy, burning shell. The constant ache of thirst is a familiar companion, a low thrumming beneath the surface of your awareness. Then, a new sensation jolts you, sharp and immediate, tearing you from the edges of sleep. It's an icy touch, something incredibly cold pressing against your lips. Your eyes, gritty and slow, flutter open. Hovering above you, a face, blurry at first, then sharpening into the familiar, worried features of your mother. Her eyes, still red-rimmed, are fixed on you with an intense, desperate hope. In her hand, clutched carefully, is a small, shallow wooden bowl, its surface worn smooth. And in it, shimmering faintly in the dim light of the hut, is a tiny glistening lump of something white. It's ice, a shard of pure, frozen water, collected painstakingly from the recent snowfall. It gleams like a jewel, a fragile, impossible treasure. With infinite care, she brings the icy shard closer, gently pressing it against your cracked, parched tongue. The shock is immediate and profound. It's an exquisite, almost painful burst of raw cold, searing your hot skin with an intensity that makes you flinch. Your whole body tenses, muscles contracting involuntarily, reacting to the sudden, violent assault of frigid purity. Your tongue, a raw, burning desert, feels the icy crystals begin to melt, a minuscule, tantalizing trickle of liquid slowly spreading across its parched surface. A tiny gasp escapes you, a dry, raspy sound, as the intense cold spreads further, numbing the immediate pain of your cracked mouth, replacing it with a profound, almost burning coolness. It's a sensory overload, a vivid, undeniable presence of the very element you have craved for so long, delivered in its purest, most brutal form. You can taste it now, the clean, unadulterated essence of water, utterly devoid of the metallic tang of the river, the bitterness of the alchemist's brew, or the salty sorrow of tears. This is pure, pristine. She holds it there, unwavering, until the shard completely dissolves, each microdrop absorbed by your desperate tongue. The feeling is fleeting, a transient ghost of relief, but the impact is profound. It's not just the coolness. It's the sheer, impossible contrast to the fire raging within, a tiny iceberg launched into your internal inferno. Your body shudders, then settles, a deep, internal sigh of momentary gratitude. The ache in your throat doesn't vanish, but it recedes, a low hum now, rather than a searing roar. In that quiet moment, the shock of cold on your tongue isn't just a physical sensation. It's a reawakening, a sudden, brutal reminder of what true purity tastes like, what genuine relief feels like, even in its most fleeting form. It reveals how even a minuscule offering, a single, painstaking shard of ice, can carry an immense, almost spiritual weight in a world utterly starved of its essence. This small, cold miracle from your mother's hand is a stark testament to the boundless power of a simple, elemental gift, and the profound lengths of human love and desperation to provide it. The cool memory of the ice shard, a fleeting gift, slowly fades from your tongue. The pervasive fire in your throat, momentarily doused, begins its relentless resurgence, a low, insistent burn that settles deep within you. You lie on the straw, your body heavy, feverish, the cold hut a desolate cage. The constant, gnawing ache of thirst is a familiar, unwelcome guest, when suddenly a sound filters through the thick blanket of silence. It's faint at first, barely a whisper, a strange, distant gurgle, like water moving deep underground. Then, a delicate, rhythmic lapping, growing steadily, undeniably. It's not the solitary drip of the ruined manor, nor the violent hiss of the forge, but a symphony of liquid movement, rich and complex, emanating from beyond the rough timber walls of your hut. A profound curiosity, laced with an almost unbearable hope, stirs in your fevered mind. You push yourself up, slowly, painfully, your breath catching in your raw throat. You pull aside the heavy woolen flap of your door, blinking into the gray light of a snow-dusted morning. The falling snow has eased, leaving a hushed, pristine world. But the silence is broken now. A cacophony of sound rises from the village square, a powerful, overwhelming wave of sound that pulls you forward. It's the sound of a city drinking. You hear it all, distinct and agonizingly clear. The rhythmic, low wave of throats, deep and satisfied, swallowing long draughts of liquid. The soft, rhythmic splosh of buckets being dipped, then lifted, overflowing. The murmur of 1,000 satisfied sighs, a collective exhalation of pure relief. The crisp clink of earthenware mugs against one another, then against parched lips. You hear the faint, tantalizing trickle of water pouring from pitchers, a continuous, melodic cascade that echoes through the snow-laden air. It's a vast, communal feast of water, a symphony of rehydration, playing out in every direction, a miracle unfolding before your ears. Your eyes strain, trying to pierce through the shimmering haze of your fever to locate the source. You see figures, blurry and indistinct, clustered around what must be the resurrected well, or perhaps a new, miraculous spring. Their movements are fluid, unhurried, no longer desperate or frantic. They drink, they splash, they fill their vessels, an endless, unburdened ritual of abundance. The sound of water, clean and copious, saturates the air, washing away the oppressive silence, replacing the pervasive decay with an intoxicating freshness. You try to move, to join them, to immerse yourself in this blessed reality, but your legs feel like lead, rooted to the spot. The fire in your throat screams, amplified by the sheer tormenting contrast of the sounds assaulting your ears. You can almost feel the cool liquid flowing down your own parched throat, a phantom sensation that makes your body ache with an even deeper, more profound yearning. This isn't just a sound. It's a living, breathing landscape of collective relief, a profound counterpoint to your individual suffering. In this moment, overwhelmed by the impossible, joyous sounds of a city drinking, you realize how deeply shared experience can bind us, even if only in the desperate conjurings of a fevered mind. It's a stark, brutal reminder that while individual thirst can be a silent, isolating agony, the relief of water, when it finally comes, is a resonant, unifying anthem, a powerful testament to the fundamental human desire not just for survival, but for the profound, communal solace of finally, truly drinking. The joyous sounds of a city drinking, once a torment, slowly begin to fade into the distant hum of memory, replaced by the hushed quiet of your own hovel. You are back on the straw, your body heavy, feverish, the thirst still a low, insistent burn. But the outside world, for a moment, feels a little less desolate, softened by the phantom echoes of communal relief. Your eyes, gritty and slow, drift open, and a new presence settles in the dim light of the hut. It's an old man, his form hunched and frail, his face a roadmap of deep, ancient wrinkles. He's a familiar elder from the village, known for his quiet demeanor and his gentle, steady presence. He sits beside you, his weight barely disturbing the straw, his presence a still, comforting anchor in your swirling consciousness. He says nothing, his gaze soft and profound, fixed not on your face, but on your hand. You follow his gaze, your eyes, heavy and unfocused, tracing the contours of your own hand, resting weakly on the rough blanket. It looks alien, unfamiliar. The skin, usually smooth and resilient, is now parchment thin, papery, stretched taut over prominent bones. It's dry, almost translucent, etched with a network of tiny, superficial cracks like a dry riverbed. The nails are brittle, discolored, a testament to long neglect and deeper illness. It's a hand that feels disconnected from you, a stranger's hand. Then the elder lifts his own hand, slowly, carefully, and places it gently beside yours on the blanket. His skin, even more ancient and weathered than yours, is a deeper, more profound network of wrinkles, like ancient carvings on old wood. But it is his veins that catch your eye. They stand out in stark relief, dark blue lines snaking just beneath the surface, a sprawling, intricate map beneath the thin, almost translucent skin. They pulse faintly, a steady, subtle rhythm, a visible testament to the flow of life, however diminished, within his frail body. You trace their path with your eyes, following the intricate pattern of tributaries and rivers that crisscross his hand, moving up his wrist, disappearing beneath the sleeve of his rough tunic. They are delicate, yet powerful, conduits of unseen vitality, a stark, visceral reminder of the hidden currents that sustain every living thing. His hand, though old and frail, feels oddly substantial beside yours, a living testament to time and endurance. A faint, earthy smell, like old wood and damp soil, emanates from him, a comforting, familiar scent that grounds you in the present moment. The elder's gaze shifts from his hand to yours, then back again. A silent, profound comparison. In that quiet gesture, you understand his unspoken message. The map of veins on his hand is the map of life itself, a subtle, beautiful testament to the unseen flow that keeps us all. In this time of plague and profound scarcity, when water is so elusive, this visible blueprint of internal liquid, this pulsing network of life, takes on an almost sacred significance. It's a stark reminder of the profound, invisible currents that sustain us, and how even in the quietest, most vulnerable moments, the body itself is a fragile, resilient vessel, holding on to its vital essence. The elder's hand, a map of life's intricate flow, slowly withdraws from beside yours, leaving a ghost of warmth on the rough blanket. You watch him go, his hunched figure dissolving into the hut's shadows, his quiet presence replaced by the familiar, heavy silence. Your gaze drifts back to your own hand, pale and fragile, its parched skin a stark contrast to the living map of veins on his. The brief, almost clinical observation has reawakened a deeper, more profound awareness of your own body, its internal landscape of pain. The fire in your throat, a constant companion, flares anew, dry and insistent, but it's joined by other, more ancient aches. A deep, pervasive stiffness has settled in your joints, making even the slightest movement a grim negotiation. Your knees, your hips, your shoulders, they creak and protest with a dull, familiar complaint, a memory of countless hours spent toiling in the fields, of harsh winters endured, of falls taken and burdens carried. Each joint feels like it's grinding, bone against bone, utterly devoid of the lubricating ease that water once provided. It's a pain that speaks of a long history, a body that remembers every strain, every hardship, even before this plague, this thirst. You shift, trying to find a more comfortable position on the scratchy straw, and a fresh wave of agony washes over you. Your back, usually a column of resilience, feels like a bruised and twisted knot, a dull, persistent throb radiating from your spine. The muscles, starved of liquid and pushed to their limits by fever, are tight, unyielding, protesting with a low, ceaseless moan. You press your hand against the small of your back, seeking some relief, but your touch only seems to accentuate the deeper, more entrenched ache, a pain that has settled into the very architecture of your being. Even your skin, beyond the incessant itch, remembers. You feel the ghost of old scars, faint lines on your arms and legs, memories of childhood tumbles and forgotten accidents. Each one, usually unnoticed, now seems to prickle with a phantom sensation, a subtle phantom itch, a memory of past injuries aggravated by the current overwhelming dryness. The very hair on your head feels brittle, dry, almost painful against your scalp. A landscape of desiccated follicles. This isn't just the acute agony of fever or thirst. This is the body's long, slow memory of every pain, every hardship, intensified and brought to the forefront by the current crisis. It's a profound, undeniable testament to the accumulated history of physical suffering, etched into your very cells, now screaming for the basic solace that water once provided. The body, you realize, is a living archive, holding onto every insult, every wound, and in times of extreme deprivation it unleashes that memory as a torrent of renewed, pervasive pain. This profound, almost ancient ache makes you understand that the struggle for survival isn't just about the present moment. It's about the entire, cumulative journey of a body, remembering and enduring, even as it approaches its breaking point. Your body aches, a profound, ancient pain. But the relentless internal fire has, somehow, dimmed. You lie in the straw, eyes open, watching the faint gray light filter through the crack in your hut's wall. The thirst still gnaws, a low, persistent thrum, but it no longer screams. Then, from beyond the walls, a new sound cuts through the hushed silence of the snow-laden village. It's a sharp, rhythmic clink-clink, distinct and resonant, followed by a lighter, scratching skrektos. The sound of metal on stone, precise and powerful, yet strangely distant, as if from another world. It's the unmistakable cadence of a stone mason at work, a chisel striking against unyielding rock. Your fever-addled mind, still clinging to the edges of delirium, struggles to make sense of it. Who would be working now? In this dead winter, with the plague still lurking, with the world seemingly at a standstill, a profound curiosity, a desire to understand this persistent act of creation amid so much destruction, slowly pulls you from your straw bed. Each movement is a profound effort, your muscles stiff and protesting, your bones aching with the long memory of pain. You pull your tattered cloak around you, the cold biting through the thin fabric, but the rhythmic sea clink draws you forward, an almost irresistible magnet. You stumble out into the snow, the crisp, cold air a shock against your face. The village is still mostly silent, a world muffled in white, but the sound of the chisel leads you towards the distant bare grounds of the old churchyard. The snow lies undisturbed here, a pristine white blanket, but as you draw closer, the Hivicound zash grows louder, clearer, a resolute beat against the stillness. You round the bend of the broken stone wall and see him. A solitary figure, hunched over a large block of rough, gray stone, his back to the falling snow. He's an old man, gaunt and stooped, his face barely visible beneath the heavy cowl of his cloak, but his hands, strong and steady, wield a heavy mallet and a gleaming chisel. With precise, deliberate strokes, he strikes, clink, sending tiny shards of stone scattering across the pristine snow, each one catching the faint, ethereal light like a fleeting jewel. The air around him is thick with the fine, gritty dust of freshly worked stone, a harsh, metallic smell that mixes with the clean scent of snow. He carves, patiently, meticulously, ignoring the biting cold, ignoring the desolate landscape, ignoring the unseen horrors of the plague. His work is slow, painstaking, a methodical act of shaping raw, unyielding material. You see the nascent outlines of letters, of symbols, beginning to emerge from the rough surface, a future inscription on an as-yet unfinished tombstone. He works with an almost quiet desperation, a profound focus that seems to exist outside of time, outside of the immediate, crushing reality. The sound of his chisel striking against that future stone is more than just the noise of labor. It's a stark, chilling reminder of the relentless march of death, of the need to carve a permanent mark for those who will not see another spring. Yet, in that precise, unyielding act of creation, in the face of such profound, pervasive loss, there is also a strange, defiant beauty. It makes you realize how even in the darkest, most desolate times, the human hand can find a way to leave a trace, a mark against oblivion, a testament not just to an end, but to the enduring, if tragic, act of remembrance. This insistent clink-clink is a powerful, almost sacred sound, a desperate carving of meaning into the face of an indifferent future. The rhythmic blink of the stonemason's chisel, a testament to grim finality, still echoes in your ears as you turn from the somber churchyard. The snow continues its silent fall, softening the edges of the desolate village, but then a new sound, faint and impossible, begins to rise above the muffled quiet. It's a distant gurgle, a hollow rush, a sound of water, not dripping, not splashing, but moving with undeniable purpose, with direction, a powerful steady hum beneath the ground, then lifting into the cold air. A fresh surge of energy, born of disbelief and a desperate, fragile hope, courses through your weakened body. You push through the deepening snow, your gaze scanning the horizon, trying to pinpoint the source of this miraculous, vibrant sound. It leads you away from the crumbling ruins, towards the outskirts of the village, where a cluster of figures, still muffled in cloaks and hoods, has begun to gather. Their forms, usually slumped in despair, now hold a strange, hopeful tension, their collective attention fixed on a singular point. As you draw closer, the source comes into view. Stretching across a shallow gully, new and stark against the ancient, snow-covered landscape, stands a freshly constructed aqueduct. Its arches, though modest, are fashioned from newly cut stone, gray and precise, still bearing the faint scent of fresh mortar and damp quarry earth. It's a testament to immense labor, to collective will, a stark line of human ingenuity cutting across the indifferent wilderness. The sound of water, now loud and clear, emanates from its furthest end, where the aqueduct disappears into a distant, unseen rise. You reach the edge of the small crowd, your breath catching in your throat. All eyes are fixed on the leading edge of the aqueduct, where a small, dark opening in the stone awaits. The air here carries a clean, crisp scent, utterly devoid of the pervasive decay or the acrid smoke you've become accustomed to. It smells of fresh rock, cold air, and something else. The anticipation of pure, flowing water. A ripple of hushed expectation passes through the assembled villagers, their bodies tense, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and profound, almost unbearable hope. No one speaks, no one dares to break the spell. Then, from the dark mouth of the aqueduct, a single, tentative trickle appears, a glistening, slender thread of liquid, clear and impossibly bright against the gray stone. It moves slowly at first, gathering strength. Then, with a soft, undeniable gush, the trickle transforms into a torrent. A rush of pure, cold water surges forward, filling the channel, gleaming under the pale winter sky, rushing with a vibrant, liquid energy. The sound is a symphony, a deep, continuous roar, a joyous gurgle, a soft, rhythmic splash as it flows over the new, smooth stones. A collective gasp of awe, a shared, profound sigh of relief, escapes from the villagers, a wave of palpable emotion washing over the small crowd. You watch, utterly mesmerized, as the water, clean and abundant, fills the aqueduct, flowing steadily towards the waiting village. It's a powerful, overwhelming spectacle, a direct, undeniable defiance of the pervasive thirst, a tangible victory against the seemingly insurmountable odds. The sight of it, the sound of it, the clean, cold scent of it filling the air, sends a profound, almost spiritual tremor through your body. This isn't just water. It's a testament to human resilience, a deliberate act of creation in the face of absolute despair. It reveals how even in the darkest times, when hope seems all but extinguished, the collective will to survive, to build, to bring life where there is only absence, can conjure miracles, forging a path through the wilderness not with prayer, but with purpose and unyielding hands. The roaring sound of water gushing through the new aqueduct, a powerful, joyous symphony, slowly fades as you step back from the edge of the crowd. The sun, a weak, watery eye in the gray sky, begins its slow descent. You leave the scene of collective triumph, the thirst still a low, insistent burn, but a new, quiet hope has taken root deep within you. You trek back through the village, the air growing colder, shadows lengthening, as you seek the familiar comfort of your hovel. You collapse onto the straw, your body heavy with fatigue, the ache of fever still present, but now a background hum. The sounds of the village quieten into the oppressive silence of night, broken only by the mournful whisper of the wind through the eaves. You drift in and out of a shallow sleep, your mind still replaying the sight of that abundant flowing water, a miracle conjured by human hands. Then, abruptly, a new sound slices through your fitful slumber. It's not distant, not natural, not the gentle murmur of a stream or the rhythmic drip of a gutter. This is something else, something powerful, resonant, and utterly modern. A sound that vibrates through the very ground beneath you. It begins as a low, almost guttural rumble, a deep, mechanical hum that seems to emanate from all around, from beneath the earth itself. Then it swells, intensifying rapidly, becoming a powerful, undeniable roar. It's the sound of water, yes, but not the gentle gurgle of a natural spring. This is the sound of water under immense pressure, rushing with incredible force through an unseen conduit. It feels like the earth itself is groaning, vibrating with the sheer volume and power of the liquid coursing beneath. The noise is almost deafening, a relentless, resonant thrumming that seems to shake the very foundations of your hut, making the rough timber walls tremble faintly. You feel the vibration in your chest, in your bones, a visceral experience of raw, channeled power. You push yourself up, disoriented, your eyes darting wildly in the inky darkness of the hut. The roaring grows louder, a vast, unseen river flowing with an almost terrifying speed and force. There's a faint, metallic taste in the air, subtle yet pervasive, mingled with the clean, cold scent of moving water. You can almost feel the cold, slick surface of a monstrous pipe, vibrating with the sheer momentum of the water trapped within. This isn't the gentle, capricious hand of nature. This is water harnessed, tamed, forced through a vessel of human design, controlled with an iron will. The roar reaches a crescendo, then holds, a sustained, powerful force that seems to fill the entire world. It's a sound of immense scale, of technology beyond anything you have ever known, of human dominion over the elements. You close your eyes, overwhelmed, your body tingling with the sheer vibration. In this modern roar, you hear the echoes of all the desperate thirst you have endured, all the struggles, all the fleeting hopes, now dwarfed by this colossal, engineered flow. It's a profound, almost terrifying reminder of how deeply humanity can reshape the world, bending even the most fundamental elements to its will. This isn't just the sound of water, it's the sound of an age, a stark, powerful testament to the triumph of invention and the immense, almost overwhelming scale of modern power over a world that once offered only scarcity. The immense, powerful roar of the modern pipe beneath the earth slowly begins to recede, a deep, resonant rumble that gradually softens, fading into a distant hum. Your senses, still vibrating from the sheer force of it, slowly reorient. The cold, dark hut and its hard straw give way to something brighter, smoother, and utterly unfamiliar. You are standing in a clean, brightly lit space, the pervasive cold replaced by a gentle, regulated warmth. A soft, continuous murmur, a quiet, soothing rush now fills the air, the effortless sound of water, freely flowing. You find yourself standing before a gleaming basin, its surface smooth and white, impossibly clean. Above it, a polished metal fixture, sleek and intricate, waits. You reach out, your fingers, no longer chapped and raw, brush against its cool, unyielding surface. A simple turn, a precise, effortless motion, and a stream of clear, cold water gushes forth with an immediate, confident strength. The sound is a joyous cascade, a vibrant splash that echoes in the small space, clean and unburdened. The air fills with the faint, sharp scent of pure water, perhaps a hint of something sterile, but undeniably clean, cool, and abundant. You take a heavy, transparent vessel, a simple glass, from a nearby surface. It feels cool and smooth in your hand, perfectly balanced, utterly unlike the rough wooden bowl or the dented tin cup of your memories. You hold it beneath the flowing stream, and watch, mesmerized, as the water swirls and rises, filling the glass to the brim with a silent, effervescent clarity. Tiny bubbles cling to the sides, sparkling under the bright light, a testament to its pristine purity. The water is perfectly clear, utterly devoid of sediment, oil, or any trace of its arduous journey. You lift the glass, its weight substantial and comforting, and bring it to your lips. Your tongue, no longer cracked and swollen, feels the first exquisite touch of the cold liquid. It's an immediate, profound shock of coolness that spreads instantly, utterly dousing the phantom fire that still lingers in your memory. You drink, a deep, long, unhurried draught, swallowing without effort, without pain, without fear. The cool, clean liquid slides down your throat, a continuous, refreshing flow that fills your stomach, bringing a rush of relief so absolute it feels almost overwhelming. It has no metallic tang, no earthy bitterness, no salty sorrow. Just pure, clean, life-giving water. You empty the glass, then stand there for a moment, savoring the cool, wet sensation that coats your mouth, your throat, your very being. As you lower the glass, You catch your reflection in the remaining few drops of water at the bottom, distorted but clear. You see eyes, full of a quiet wonder, reflecting not just the light, but the long, arduous journey you've taken, the profound scarcity you endured. This isn't just water in a simple glass. It's a living testament to an unimaginable luxury, an effortless abundance. It reminds you how quickly we forget, how easily we take for granted, the most elemental miracles. To have such purity, such ease, such boundless supply at the mere turn of a hand, it transforms not just your body, but your entire understanding of existence. The reflection in that simple glass isn't just your image, it's a vivid, silent witness to the profound, almost spiritual distance between a world where water was precious and a world where it simply, miraculously is.